Hello and welcome back to Serie, a Spotlight. We're your hosts Jake
and Matt.
You know what time it is!
I can't tell you guys enough how much you've been my internal monologue when thinking about football for the last year.
Yes, amazing! We get to record while drinking some wine. Jake and I will have a very special soft spot for Salernitana.
We love him.
We love him. Stop zooming in on Allegri's face, bro. You're gonna make
How
me
are you
break.
exposing me?
Because you're gonna make me break, man.
Hello and welcome back to yet another episode of Serie A Spotlight. This is episode 196. We're your host Jake
And Matt.
here to run you through all the action in Matchday 9 and Matchday 10 of Serie A.
Fantastic.
Finally,
Fantastic. Yep, that was take number 3 for those not watching. Laugh at everyone, point at Jake and laugh. The season is officially a quarter finished. We're already a quarter way through the season.
Yeah.
That's match day 10. We round the top 40 matches in a season, 10, 20, 30, 40. Yes, maths for those
There
of
we go.
you
Thank you for
that
listening.
didn't know.
Um,
It's tough for us to cover both match days, right?
It
In one
is,
episode.
especially when there are midweek ones because everything blends into one
Yeah.
and it becomes impossible, and we're not gonna prepare 20 games when most of them are a week old, and you're not gonna listen to a rundown on those games.
Exactly. But we do want to clear your heads because just like everything is foggy for us, 2 match days submerged into one. Let's segregate them. Let's go through each match day, run through them, and then for the majority of the episode, let's look at the major talking points, the title race, the appointment of Spalletti, the situation at Fiorentina with Pioli and Prade now out, Atalanta and Juric, the sacking of Vieira, the relegation battle. So instead of going match by match, we're going to discuss as a whole the 2 match days and then move on to the bigger picture. We do have our goals of the week,
Yes.
as always, still. So we had to choose 2 goals of the week each, right? My goal of the week for match day 9.
Just to refresh your memory, there was Lookman's goal against Milan where he blasted into the roof of the net after a lovely touch. There was Dovbik's goal against Parma where he controlled the ball with his knee and whacked it home. Bonazzoli versus Genoa, which was a nice bicycle kick by the what did we call him? A Borriello regen, right?
Exactly.
Borriello regen,
Exactly.
Bonazzoli. Exactly. There was Çalhanoğlu's goal against Fiorentina, which was very nice. Sucic's goal against Fiorentina was also very nice, and Lorionte's goal against Cagliari was a rocket as well.
Yeah, I think we saw great technique with the Sucic goal. I thought we saw a great strike by Çalhanoğlu. But if you hit an overhead kick and you score and your name starts with the letter B, that's my goal of the week. Bonazzoli's overhead kick. No debate in my eyes. That's his second overhead kick this season. The first one was against Milan, the winner.
Yeah.
I cannot give it to this guy. I'm in awe of Bonazzoli at the moment.
What did you call him off air?
Bonazzoli.
That's a good Fanta name, guys, for those of you who are looking for inspiration. My goal of the week is Sucic's goal against Fiorentina. I just loved the composure, the way that he was so patient and took that man on by rolling the ball before finishing cleanly. I thought that was a splendid goal.
Yeah, his first Serie A goal, and what a way to get it. I think
He
Patrick
was.
Kendrick said it perfectly. It's always an unforgettable moment to get your first goal for Inter, but this is beyond unforgettable. It was such a well-taken goal in that tight area to beat the players in the way that he did, keep a cool head and smash it in, because the finish was
Yeah.
great as well.
It really was.
Really good goal by Sucic.
And he was over the moon as well. You could see he was on the floor. He was almost laughing hysterically. At first I thought he was crying. But
Yeah,
then
I think he was.
he was.
emotional. I hate
Yeah.
it when they tackled him to the ground, right?
Yeah.
Like it's camaraderie and whatever,
Yeah.
but I'm all for let him have his moment. let
Yeah,
him-
but I don't think he's that type. I think for your first goal, you just have so much emotion that the whole team just enjoys it with you. It reminds me, do you remember Locatelli had scored, I think it was the winner against Sassuolo, and
Not the Juve one.
the
volley.
win, but first it was the winner against Sassuolo, and he was in tears running, and everyone was all over him.
Yeah.
Then the next week he scored the winner against Juve, and a completely different celebration. He was ice cold.
Yeah.
He did a knee slide with his arms crossed, and that's only a few days apart, and that was a much more momentous
two
occasion. He
great
scored
goals.
against Juve, you know what I mean?
I
Against
think the-
Buffon.
I think the first one was the volleyed one against Juve was top corner strike from an angle against Buffon. It was
And Milan were
gorgeous.
heavy underdogs that game.
Yeah. You have a Locatelli kit, eh?
Yes,
Somewhere
I
there.
do. I thought you were going to tell me I have a Locatelli on my beard.
No, you don't typically tend to have that. You can't find it. So it's probably peeling all the way anyway. Match day 10, and then saw some delicious goals as well. Bro, it's really fine.
I definitely had one. I'm actually curious.
Probably during the move, bro.
No, God, no. Alright, whatever. It's gone.
Yeah. Match day 10 saw some mental goals, brother, as well, if you can just take us through
Of
them.
course. So in match day 10, there was a clear winner, of course, but there was Vardy's second goal in Serie A against Juve, where there was a long ball over the top by Jonsson, I believe, and Vardy took it down. He absolutely outmuscled Gatti and outpaced them, and then finished expertly into the bottom corner. That's definitely a contender.
Two cool storylines, those two going head to head. Late bloomers work their way into the big leagues the hard way, and you see them going head to head like that. It's good to zoom out and remember they both have such unique stories.
Absolutely. There is Zielinski versus Hellas Verona.
That's the goal of the week.
That's the goal of the week. Spoiler alert. Yes.
Goal of the season.
There was a floated cross from a corner by Çalhanoğlu, and Zielinski just whacks it in, and he makes it look so easy. He guides it with his instep.
Because it was put on a plate for Zielinski, who I think he just sidestepped it into the top corner. The power was all generated by Hakan's ball.
Yeah.
It was perfectly placed in front of him. He cushioned it perfectly to guide it into the top corner. That power was not generated by him. That power came all from that ball by Çalhanoğlu, who is on fire, bro. He's on fire.
He's on fire. Yeah. Joe Wang, that game, scored against Inter.
Yeah.
He equalized. That goal was superb as well. Gift Orban giving him the ball and then him finishing so well. Miranda's goal against Parma was very good. Pavlovic's goal against Roma, of course, running 100 meters. And you have Leao completely doing Indica and running the full length of the half before putting it on a plate for Pavlovic. Malinovsky with a trademark Malinovsky goal against Sassuolo with a rocket. Isaacson with a curler against Cagliari, and then Zaccagni taking advantage of a mistake at the end and scoring a lovely curler into the top corner. It hit the top corner perfectly.
Perfectly. This was a week of crackers.
It was,
and I'm glad we got to watch a lot of the games together. So many spectacles.
Yeah.
We will be getting more into that soon. First of all, obviously, massive shout out to our media partners in Benevo Bid. Guys, check out the link in our bio to bid on autographed items from top players, including match-issued kits. Most of the proceeds go to charity, so hit the link in our bio, do your bit, and sport some sick merch as well. If you guys are like, oh, is this real? They're fake signatures, fake kits, whatever. Go check out their Instagram. They post the videos of the players actually signing the kits. If you're new here, make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube, and give us a 5-star rating on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. We do weekly episodes covering every single match, every single team, every single week, and even have a bonus tactical analysis episode called Tactics Imperium by our very own football analyst Gianluca Lea. If you really love us, become a patron. It's $3.99 a month, and you'll be added to a Discord channel with 50+ like-minded legends with multiple channels for different discussions, and you can win a free kit if you win our Fantasy League. How is our Fantasy League doing, brother?
Our Fantasy League is...
Okay,
so
I think
Inter...
I have it.
I have it. I don't have the points, but I have Inter Your Mom in first place with David Vavra.
Mm-hmm.
In second place, we have some weirdo whose name is Zanetti's asshole.
And who's in third, brother?
In third, we have SSC Drees Nuts. That's Brandon, of course. Sheikh Retegi in fourth. That's Tim. But Daddy, I Love Skamaka is in fifth, and that is my bird, Sarah.
My bird.
My bird. That's what Nick called her for. Now I like it. I'm gonna I'm gonna incorporate the lingo into my vocabulary. My bird. And tied with my bird is Alan Skamaka. No, sorry, Catenaccio Me Maxi is his name.
Fuck yes.
Yes. I am in like 23rd or something. I've climbed a bit. But once again, I'm a man down, bro. My midfield is a disaster. I have so many injuries.
Sort it out.
I can't. So how do you want me to sort it out? We can't trade.
Do something, man.
What can I do? I've played 3 midfielders.
Brother, if you make the rules, you can't struggle so much to survive. You literally made the rules.
It's just
for
an
all of
injury.
this.
It's unfortunate, brother. There's
Mm.
nothing that can be done.
Nick is in 36th, which is not bad considering you haven't done your fucking team once.
And you've started Lamek Banda every single
Entire time. Lamek Banda, give us a scream, Nick. Yes, I
Hell
do
yeah.
want to reiterate I'm in second, just for those that didn't hear before. I'm doing this for all of you. That's all I'm going to say. I represent the people over
Yes.
here. And Inter, your mom, I don't like your fucking attitude. I'm coming
Bro's
for
got
you.
beefs. David, be careful. Watch out. Speaking of our patrons, while we're on the topic, Luca did submit a video saying that he is not going to shave his asshole until Juventus win 5 games in a row, to which Cesco replied, "Trust me, he hasn't shaved it since 09." But the agreement is that once Juve do win 5 games in a row, Luca's going to come here, and we're going to place him on this table over here, and we're going to wax him.
No, we are not waxing Luca's asshole. I think we should get like an OnlyFans model to shave his asshole,
Yeah,
and
that would
maybe Luca can get some commission for putting his body on the line with that one.
Yes.
Shall we jump into everything? Shall we jump into Matchday 9? Is there anything else that we forgot? No, I don't believe so.
No, not that I'm seeing. So I think we can run down Matchday 9, yeah.
Of course. So, Matchday 9, midweek, right? We had around 5 minutes to finish recording and then go watch Atalanta Milan as we're watching Lecce Napoli on this very TV to my left. What happened in Lecce Napoli, which was the first match that took place? It was 0-0 for a hell of a long time. Lecce looked solid. Lecce looked really good over the past 2 match days. They win a penalty. Camarda steps up. 17-year-old Camarda stepped up to take the penalty. Saved by Vanja Milinkovic-Savic. Anguissa finds the winner moments later. Second goal in as many games. And a throwback to when Napoli need a goal late on against a small team. Anguissa, right? He scored this goal away to Lecce, and he had scored that goal as well against Cagliari, a header as well. Always there in the big occasion. Napoli remained first because of that. Level on points with Roma, who beat Parma with the score of 2-1. That was a great goal by Dovbyk to seal this result. I was impressed by Parma's performance, and I was impressed by their goal by Circati, because it was a long throw by Valenti, and a long throw. If you watch the Premier League, every team has one player that can throw the ball into the box, and not many teams are doing it in Serie A. Parma are doing it because Cuesta brought it to Serie A, right? And
We've seen Como as well do it a bit.
We've seen Como do it as well, you're right. Valenti with a long throw, knocked down with a header, and then Circati, just by that one touch, he's clean through on goal and he slots it past the keeper. So encouraging signs from Parma, encouraging signs for Roma as they put 2 goals past a team that's really tough to score against. In third place, Inter, as they completely destroyed Fiorentina with the score of 3-0. I don't know if anyone had any doubt. Fiorentina are now in last place. Prade was sacked and so was Pioli.
Yeah, I believe Prades stepped down.
It was
First-
mutual from what I heard.
So first I know that he took full responsibility for it, and then said that the match, the last match, the most recent one, is do or die, and then like 20 hours before the match he stepped down or mutually whatever.
Yeah.
So he's no longer there, the controversial figure.
And we will get into that very soon. It's one of our main talking points, what's going on at Fiorentina at the moment. This game, however, it did take long for Inter to break the deadlock. If we know one thing about Pioli, he doesn't have a great record against Inter. And Fiorentina were really struggling, so they went in quite solid and quite driven. However, in the 60-something minutes, Çalhanoğlu scored, and then Sucic scored that banger, and then Çalhanoğlu scored again. And it was all Inter, some great saves by David De Gea in this match as well. And then there was Atalanta 1, Milan 1. This result did mean that Milan momentarily sank to 4th and Atalanta extended their draw streak, right? It was a Ricci early goal. Weird defending by Atalanta where they didn't really have any players. They had all their players in the box.
Yeah.
And The corner was headed out straight to Ricci. Ricci on the volley hits one of the Atalanta players and heads in. And then Lookman scored his first goal of the season since he's been back. And it was domination by Atalanta after that. Second half was essentially Milan hanging on, trying to hit on the break.
Yeah, there was one shot on target in the entirety of the second half, and it was saved by Manian. That's it.
Yeah.
Milan didn't have a shot on target.
It was pretty much all Atalanta. I thought Atalanta were great in this
They
game.
were.
They might have deserved a victory over there, but if there's one thing you know about Allegri's style, you don't often think that he would have deserved a result sometimes.
Yeah, if I had the haram ball over here, I would press it.
Exactly. Even though it doesn't fully do him justice, because the XG that Milan face, the XG Milan have and the XG Milan face is always in favor of Milan.
This game was not the
This game
the
wasn't
case.
the case.
Exactly.
Let's not let this one game obviously define the manager.
Yeah.
Como 3, Verona 1. There was a momentary scare for Como as there was an equalizer, but it was Duvikas, Posh and Voivoda that saved Como. Fabregas and Como, just as we expected. They look absolutely unbelievable. They look really, really good. They look like one of the top teams, and I think we can really start talking about the potential of Como breaking into a European spot, be it Conference League, be it Europa, be it Champions League.
We'll talk about them because they do have some very interesting stats as well. Their records are top tier, so we'll take a look.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. You watch them play, you say these guys are almost contenders. Bologna 0, Torino 0. Bologna failed to break down Torino on home soil. The biggest chance actually did fall to Torino when Adams hit the post. Bologna really struggled to penetrate Torino. When Torino sit back, they're a really tough cookie to crack. When Torino are confident and when they think they can beat you, it's likely you'll put 4 or 5 past them.
Yeah.
But this was quite an even affair. Juve 3, Udinese 1 in Massimo Brambilla's only game in charge for the club. Hey, that is 1 game, 1 win. The loser of this game was Goglioccidze because he gave away 2 penalties. Zaniolo equalized in this game, and it was the start of his arc because he did score in Matchday 10 as well.
Yes,
Zaniolo really revived, and he has that grinta and that attitude about him. I'm really enjoying him at the moment.
Yes, we'll talk about him as well. He is a rock star on the pitch, Zaniolo. He is that. You remember in WWE, bro, when we used to watch that shit, there was always like the villain, right? That wrestler who would come in and people are booing him and he's like feeling it and he's taking it as like a compliment, essentially, and it's fueling him. He's literally that,
Absolutely.
Zlatan mentioned this in his book as well. You have to use the booze as fuel.
Yeah, and I mean, he's not the most likable figure in the game at the moment because of recent history. But if this is his redemption arc, then so be it.
Yeah. Also, Goglioccidze was benched for this play.
I'm not surprised. 2 penalties
Harsh,
given away.
But poor performance.
You have to. Otherwise, this guy's gonna think he could just be fucking wrestling everyone in the box. Genoa 0, Cremonese 2, the match that sealed Vieira's fate, as he has now been sacked by Genoa. More of that to come. We'll have a lot of talking points to bring up there. But the star of the show was Bonazzoli, his second bicycle kick of the season, his first doppietta, and he's their top scorer.
He is their top scorer, and he has only been outscored by 2 players, Orsolini and Çalhanoğlu. He's on 4 goals this season, Bonazzoli. That's the same as quite a few players, actually. Simeone, Castro, De Bruyne, Anguissa, Paz, and Pulisic.
How old is Bonazzoli? That's what I want to know.
Bonazzoli is not that young. He's been around for he's 28 years old. Yes,
28, I thought so, to be fair.
Yeah. But yeah, he seems to be hitting his peak, I don't know, he seems to be entering his prime.
For these players that play with Grinta, Davide Nicola Cremonese is where you need to be, right? Cagliari 1, Sassuolo 2, an impressive win in Sardinia without Berardi for Sassuolo. What a free kick by
that free kick was mental, man.
This game.
The way he struck it, holy shit.
Caprile rooted to the spot after the few games that he's had. Impressive stuff by Sassuolo. And there was also Pisa 0, Lazio 0. Both sides seem to be looking for all 3 points. Pisa continue to look like a tough team. 5 draws in their last 6. Best chance fell for Lazio as Basic hit the post.
And Lazio, of course, as if the transfer ban wasn't enough, they're in a little bit of a crisis, somewhat themselves when it comes to injuries. For this game, they were missing Hisai, Kamenovic, Cancelleri, Nuno Tavares, Castellanos, Rovella, Gigot, and Delebashiru. That's absolutely crazy. Yeah.
Crazy. Actually, not bad fucking results for Lazio considering the injury crisis, man.
Yes, and we'll talk about them as well very soon because they are actually on somewhat of a hot streak at the moment.
They are. So that was Matchday 9. I won't get into what the standings were too much. At the top 4 of Napoli, Roma, Inter and Milan. Como lurking a little bit behind. Juve down in 7th. Cremonese up in 8th. Atalanta down in 9th. Lazio down in 11th. Fiorentina won before the last and Genoa last in this case.
Yeah, so that was match day 9, and then the weekend started and match day 10 kicked off with Udinese beating Atalanta 1-0 at home thanks to yet another goal by Zaniolo, who celebrated ferociously. He was going, Io! Putting Juric in the hot seat and putting Zaniolo's name all over the papers.
Yeah.
And people are actually mentioning Zaniolo's name and Gattuso's name in the same sentence now as well.
Zaniolo loves a goal against his old clubs.
Yeah, he does. He's thriving.
Celebrated relentlessly as he scored for Atalanta against Roma, and he did nothing else all season. And now he just scored against Atalanta, and he celebrated like a madman as well. And not to mention, this is Atalanta's first loss of the season, which now puts their record, when you look at it, from the undefeated team to 2 wins, 7 draws, 1 loss.
Yeah.
Suddenly
it's not looking that good. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And then Napoli were lucky to draw 0-0 against Como at the Maradona, as Vania had to save yet another penalty. That is his second penalty in a row, and we actually have a stat. I'm going to read it out right now, might as well. That's 6 of his last 9 penalties saved, Vanya Milinkovic-Savic. That is unbelievable, bro.
There's an argument to be made that he's one of the best in Europe when it comes to stopping penalties. There's, of course, Donnarumma, and there is, bro, some fucking keeper in the French
Henry
league.
Bonnell.
There's some keeper in the French league that saved like 5 or 6
really?
in a row,
I
or
don't
in
know
the
about this
German
guy.
league. I'll pull him up.
If you know, listeners, write it in the comments and spank the like button while you're at it as well. Why not? You can try to find that. I'll move on to the next one. But yes, Vanya Milinkovic-Savic is an absolute animal, and I would not like to step up to take a penalty against him, especially not when I'm 17. By the way.
Absolutely. That was like, come on, they should give someone with some more experience. Now, if he would have scored that, I'd have been saying, yes, they put the boy, whatever.
Narratives, right?
Noah Atubolu.
What did you call me?
Noah Atubolu has become the first goalkeeper in Bundesliga history to save 5 penalties in a row. I believe around 2 of them were in the same game, if not 3. Noah Atubolu, he is Freiburg's keeper.
Okay.
Check them out. There's some brilliant penalty saves as well.
Really,
bro.
they're like top
really,
corner ones, like flying like an eagle.
Really good ones. I just have one up. I'm just showing Jake. Look how confident he is, bro.
Is that Mike Mannion?
Covering so much.
He does
ground.
The mic thing. That's what Mike did in the last one. Puts his one hand up after, like.
This is all 5.
Oh,
fantastic saves! Really good penalty saves. Let's not entertain ourselves.
I wish we could show you guys, but of course, copyright is a thing.
Yes.
Now, yes. So this time it was Morata's penalty who Vanya saved.
Who shouldn't be on penalties?
I don't know. He's missed a few.
I've been watching Morata since he was a teenager at Real. And he's good at many things, Morata. Penalties was never it for him. It was never it. He should not be on penalties. They have so many talented players, Como.
That's a fair point, actually. But I guess when you look at the CVs of each player, you would guess that Morata has the authority to take that ball and claim it.
Yeah, but he hasn't even scored a goal for Como this season. I believe that would have been his first.
Would it?
I believe so. I believe so.
Yeah, double check that. But I think you're right, bro. I don't think he's scored for Como yet, actually. Plus, his role is almost of a support striker. He's almost empowering the players around him. I mean, that's what you get with Morata.
Yeah. Well, it does say here he has 1 assist.
1 assist.
Congratulations.
Okay. Yeah, well done. Moving on. We have Spalletti started off his Juve career by beating Cremonese 2-1 in Cremona. Kostic fired Juve home just 2 minutes in on his birthday.
Verona.
Sorry. No. Spalletti beat
Oh,
Juve
sorry,
beat, yeah,
sorry. My bad.
Yeah, it's okay. Don't do it again. And then Cambiaso doubled their lead in the 68th minute by tapping home. And Jamie Vardy, or Jardy as I was about to call him, went on to score his second Serie A goal, rolling back the years, out-muscling and outpacing Gatti before finishing expertly. And I'm using that word every time, expertly, because that was an expert finish.
Yeah.
He didn't panic, he didn't put too much power behind it, he kind of spun it in, he placed it, it curved, it was beautiful.
Yeah, it's hard to look at Vardy and think of this seasoned, veteran, experienced striker because you just see a lunatic who's high off Red Bull all the time. But he is a seasoned striker.
He is, of course.
Who last season had 10 goals in the Premier League.
He's somewhat of an artist in front of goal.
Yeah.
It took an extremely unfortunate own goal by Freze in the 93rd minute for Inter to manage a 2-1 victory over Hellas Verona. Zielinski scored, of course, one of the goals of the season in the 16th minute. Joe Van equalized 5 minutes before halftime with a wonderful goal. He has recently been spotted speaking to Atalanta, by the way. He's been photographed by paparazzi leaving the Atalanta headquarters. Already, he's only 10 games into his Serie A career and he's already speaking to Atalanta. He has been very impressive to be fair.
Clearly he's doing something right, man.
Yeah, condolences to Ben.
Yeah.
A controversial moment for Inter happened when Joe Van, who appeared to be last man, was fouled by Bissek. The freeze frame looks absolutely terrible, but Jovan's touch was too heavy and I don't think it warranted a red card. Nick, I believe we have the footage of this one. What do you think about that, bro?
That's you summed it up quite well off air, where you said had the contact been made and was it Jovain, right? Had he had either a better touch or had he not touched the ball yet, red card. Because he's clean through on goal.
Yeah.
But his touch was so awful. He wasn't getting to the ball. I believe it was Bastoni that was going to get to the ball.
Bastoni or Sucic, I'm not sure who it was at the time.
So it wasn't the denial of a clear goal scoring opportunity. Could you argue that that kind of contact was made with the ball because the player was coming in to make the challenge? No.
No,
it's not a red card.
It would have been extremely harsh. It's not like the ball was going to drop perfectly in the center of the pitch, setting him up to go one-on-one with the keeper. It was almost going out.
Yeah, the freeze frame had me.
The freeze frame looked like a pure robbery. You see it posted on X, everyone's losing their minds. But of course, that is not fair, quite frankly. But extremely unlucky. And then by Freze at the end. I felt so bad for them. They didn't deserve that. Zanetti looked devastated.
Yeah.
Pioli coached Fiorentina for what would be his last game in charge in a 1-0 home loss to Lecce, making it 10 games without a single victory. So that means Brambilla has a better record in one game.
Yeah, bro. That's 4 draws, 6 losses for Fiorentina.
Terrible.
Not good enough by any stretch of the imagination.
And you watch the game, it's just panic station, man. Yeah. Everyone freaking out. They're always complaining to the referee, trying to pile as much pressure, and they're rushing everything, man. And Pioli, I don't know, Pioli benched Goodmanson this game. I don't know. It was so desperate. I think he tried to bring him on as an impact sub. Maybe he can have an extra gear against Lecce's tired legs. But Lecce looked composed. They knew they were up against a side that they could easily frustrate. And they were patient. And they managed to capitalize on an error. And it was Berisha who scored his second goal of the season and celebrated in a very cold way. First he shushed and then he did the I can't hear you. So first he shut everyone up and then told them I can't hear you. Never understood that.
I find it so confusing. Like you're sending mixed signals right now. If you're shushing me and then you're complaining that you can't hear me. Like what? Like shut up. I can't hear you.
It's like shh, be quiet. I can't hear you. Like no shit. You just told me to be quiet. So Berisha's having a very good season.
He is.
In midfield. This is his second goal and he has looked inspired and he's upped his game.
Yeah.
This Lecce team, every season, one of the old guard is upping their game. Every time. Yeah. We have that Thiago Gabriel, what's his name at the back? He's playing really well as well. There's a Gallo every season. He just gets better and better. And Berisha this season. I think it's his breakout season. He's still young. He's like 22 years old.
Yeah,
Very good.
if Lecce and Verona manage another great escape this season, I'd almost bet that they won't get relegated for the next 10 years, because it seems like they're almost always favourites to go down. Now, they're not safe by any stretch of the imagination, right?
Absolutely. Now we'll compare the table to the table how it was last season at this time.
Nice.
Torino and Pisa played out a 2-2 draw, which saw Pisa going up 2-0 in the first half, and then Torino equalising all in the first half. Moreo bagged his first Serie A goal and his first brace since 2014, while Torino dominated possession in the second half, but both teams created a similar amount of chances, and in the end, neither did enough to take all 3 points. That was a random cracker of a game at Torino Pisa.
When Torino go down, they almost enjoy it. We saw the game against Lazio, the 3-3, right? It almost fuels them with adrenaline. What an entertaining game. Pisa are a joy to watch. I have a few good talking points.
They're fun, Pisa. They're good fun. Yeah. Bologna beat Parma 3-1 in a match which saw Bernabe open the scoring a few seconds in. What was that, man? 14 seconds? Something like that, right?
Yeah.
Long ball over the top, a weird duel, and the Parma player won the duel and laid it off to Bernabe.
With a volley that he mishit.
Yeah, exactly, with a mishit volley, literally. Castro went on to equalise in the 17th minute before Ordóñez got 2 yellow cards in 7 minutes and was therefore sent off, of course. Castro went on to give Bologna the lead before Miranda killed off Parma at the death with a violent finish. Of course, Vincenzo Italiano was in hospital with pneumonia for this game, so Daniel Niccolini was on the sideline. Italiano has since been discharged from hospital. Nick had pneumonia. How was that? Terrible, apparently. How old were you?
4 years old.
4 years old. So he nearly died. Holy shit! Actually, or so you actually?
No, I actually nearly died.
Oh my god.
Jeez Louise.
All right. So thoughts with Italiano?
Yeah, really.
And well done, Nick.
Go, Nick.
Yeah.
Nick is a warrior, man.
He is. Milan beat Roma 1-1. I wrote. Milan beat Roma 1-0 as both teams deployed what appeared to be a 4-4-2 formation. Leao absolutely smoked Ndika to set up Pavlovic after his 100-meter sprint to score a tap-in, and this was 5 minutes before the break. Roma were awarded a penalty in the 82nd minute because Unc Fofana jumped like a toddler in the wall, like this. This is how he jumped.
My God, man.
Yeah, he's not doing himself any favors. I feel bad for him. But he was the one who gave away the free kick.
He missed a huge chance. So he gave away the free kick, and then the free kick was taken, and he put his hands up. Like, I think that lyric must have put your hands in the air if you're fucking tonight. Like, he put his hands up. He
looked like one of those gas station things. You know the one?
And he missed a sitter as well.
Yeah, he missed 2 good chances. Granted, the Bartesaghi ball was it was a perfect pass, the Bartesaghi pass. But it was a bit too...
It was hard.
Unexpected and hard, so I don't blame him.
It had to be like a snapshot.
But the other
you have to be expecting that, right?
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't help that he's constantly being criticized and constantly starting. I think he needs some time on the bench because Fofana isn't a bad player. We remember when he was playing with Reinders, he almost took that creative midfield role. He was playing some nice defense splitting passes. And we used to say that he's not a destroyer. Exactly. He's a creative player.
Exactly. And this season, it feels like he's a bit more of that engine. And I think since Rabiot's been injured, he's been doing a lot more running. And Richie's allowed to go forward a little bit more. But he is capable of clumsy moments, Fofana. That's what you get with him. Yeah. He could produce a number of great assists, but he's going to have these moments. You know, he could be a liability at times.
Exactly. Dybala stepped up to take the penalty. But Magic Mike, the Eagle, the Money Man, the Myth, the Legend, Manyan, the Aura Farmer saved it.
Like this, bro.
Like this.
Yeah, this
one hand, huh?
No, but before the penalty. That's his routine. Before the penalty, both hands in the air, like.
And then he saved it and he put his arm, like I don't know, man.
That's for
it was massive, I mean.
Huge save.
He saved, and it's been a while since I saw Dybala miss. I was convinced he was going to score. Convinced.
And I tried to badly juju him while we were watching the game, because I told you, my God, the last time I remember Dybala missing a penalty was in the Super Cup final when Donnarumma saved it, remember?
Yeah.
I believe it was the Super Cup.
I think so. I think so. So, yes, it was. So... Yes, that gave Milan the lead, and Milan went on to win the game. That stopped Roma from equalising, not giving
Yes,
Milan the lead,
yes.
of course. Genoa, under interim manager Mimmo Criscito. Do you remember him? I had him on Fantacalcio every season, this guy, because he would take penalties as a left back, he would take free kicks, he was on set pieces, he was a beast.
So it was Roberto Murgita that was assisted by Domenico Criscito.
Really?
That's
I
the
only
report
saw
that I have.
Criscito on the sideline. Okay, we'll double check
Maybe
that.
he had
I
pneumonia or
believe.
something. Just everyone, you get pneumonia.
Nick gets pneumonia. So yes, they beat Sassuolo 2-1 to get their first win of the season. We're seeing a theme over here, right? When you break the chains from Tudor and Vieira, from your new manager, you get more this boost, right? I
Yeah.
need to prove myself. I need to earn my place. And we see that every time.
It becomes real, right?
It does.
Your coach, the guy that's there for you, the guy that you can lean on, the guy that supports you, the guy that
loves you.
the guy that loves you, your father, gets sacked and he's suddenly gone. You're like, whoa, okay, this is fucking real. We're struggling.
Yeah.
The manager is gone. People
Yeah.
are losing their jobs. Like, we have to get our shit together.
And you can see the intensity of it as well, because like Spalletti arrived and I believe he was greeted by Perin, and Perin told him, "How are you?" And he's like, "It depends on you guys, I guess." And the owner of Juventus did go down to speak to the players and basically told them, like, "Look, we're changing coach again. That's a sign that you guys aren't doing well as well."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, if the coach is being changed so regularly, there's a problem with the players as well.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely. The players are the ones on the pitch.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. So, yes, this match saw a trademark Malinovsky rocket, Berardi's 150th goal for Sassuolo.
Holy fuck.
So, Berardi has played 408 games for Sassuolo. He's scored 150 goals and he has 111 assists. So that is legend status.
Yes, absolutely.
For sure,
This
like-
is a Scola Juve winger. We all thought that he was going to have a short spell at Sassuolo because he was overperforming the team, this and that. Of course, they had their Europe charge, etc. You're like, okay, maybe Berardi will stick around for that. But he went down to Serie B with them, man. So you
Yeah.
speak to any Juve fan and see who are their favorite players. The ones that went down to B, took them back up to A, and they went on that 9 in a row title winning streak.
Wait, you're saying Berardi went down to Serie B?
With Sassuolo.
With
I'm saying
Sassuolo.
ask any
Okay.
Juve
Yeah.
fan who
Sorry
drawing
about that.
parallels.
Yeah. Absolutely, bro. No. He's and I mean, it hasn't been perfect. There have been rumors of him wanting to leave, etc., etc. But the reality remains that he's still there, and that's what people will remember.
Exactly.
It took until the 92nd, I believe, minute for Ostegard, aka Randy Orton, to score the winner with a towering header, and then he celebrated in a very passionate way with a knee slide. Everyone going mental. Genoa get their first win of the season.
Yeah, and Ostegard
Lovely.
has been good.
Ostegard's good, man.
And Ostegard is when you go to create a player on FIFA, the first draft that you get, the bald head, the no facial hair, that like
yeah.
one of those people that are employed by the government and they like strangle people behind the scenes.
Oh my
That's what Ostegard looks like. Kind of like Pavlovic as well.
Yeah,
Pavlovic
yeah.
has that lore about him.
Man, I love these players.
Yeah.
So much heart. And then Lazio managed a 2-0 victory over a very tough Cagliari side in Rome. Isaacson scored in the 65th minute, a lovely curler to give them the lead, and then Zaccani made the most of a mistake in the 92nd minute to double the lead. Lazio have now kept a clean sheet in their last 4 games.
Huge.
That's Atalanta, Juve, Pisa and Cagliari. That's
Yeah.
massive, with the injuries they've had.
And they should have conceded 5 against Atalanta because Atalanta were absolutely mauling them. I did hear a rumor about Lazio wanting a new stadium, and the planned area is just across the river, a stone's throw away from the Olimpico,
You
and that
serious?
would just change the dynamic completely.
That's great.
Of that rivalry. It would be so cool if both teams had their own stadiums in such close vicinity in the center of Rome.
Yeah, it would be really cool
Center.
and a little bit dodgy.
Yeah,
dangerous.
absolutely.
Yeah.
2 home games, like a 6 o'clock and an 8:45.
Yeah.
You know, that would be
It would
crazy.
be, while one fan base is leaving, the others arriving. That's not very smart, considering they always they always set the derby up to be super early so people
Yeah.
aren't drunk. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
As if that's gonna stop anyone. but maybe.
Espresso martini for breakfast.
All right, bro. Shall we move on to our talking points?
Yes, so we'll start off with the title race a
Mhm.
little bit. So let's look at shall we narrow it down to the top 7 teams at the moment? So firstly, we have, after 10 matches of the season, the closest Serie A race that we've had in years. I
Mhm.
think it is the first time in history that there has actually been this close a title race just 10 matches into the
Yeah.
season. So there's Napoli in first with 22 points. And then 3 teams on 21 points. Those being Inter, Milan and Roma. These are the teams that right now you look at the standings and you say those are the title contenders. On 18 points there's Bologna, and on 18 points as well there is Juve, who now have that new manager boost.
Yeah.
A winner like Spalletti. Shortly followed by Como in 7th with 17
Yes.
points.
That means that 5 points separate first from 7th.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's extremely close, extremely tight at the moment. Of course, we do expect it to fizzle out a little bit, unless it doesn't. This is, after all, the best league in the world.
Yeah.
Shall we break it down a little bit? We start by talking about Napoli. So it's fair to say that most of the teams up there are going through or have gone through somewhat of an injury crisis, right?
Yes.
However, Napoli were injury or have been injury plagued, rather, right? We're talking Lukaku, Kevin De Bruyne, Buongiorno coming in and out. They lost
Yeah.
Lobotka for a while, but of course they have maintained the mentality of champions, and
Mhm.
they have performed relatively well to the point that they have amassed the most points.
And look,
The first 10
I'm
games.
not too impressed by Napoli's performances, but I wasn't impressed by Napoli's performances last season either. The last time I was impressed by Napoli's performances was when they blew everyone out of the water with Luciano Spalletti 3 seasons ago.
Yeah.
So this is a team that outperform the predicted outcome of certain games. So that last-ditch winner against Lecce, the last-ditch winner against Cagliari, this is what a team that wants to win the league do. Now, they have a manager who has won the majority of the Serie A titles that he's participated in. I believe it's 6 out of 7. He's participated in 7 and he won 6, which is ridiculous, or 6 or 5 to 6, I can't remember. What they have is a team that did it last season, the same manager that did it last season, essentially very close to the same starting 11, and what they did is, because now they have multiple competitions, which they didn't have last season, they've brought in reinforcements for depth. I do believe that the only upgrade that they had was in goal with Vanja Milinkovic-Savic, because otherwise you look at their starting 11, it's relatively the same barring De Bruyne. There's questions or if they're better or worse with De Bruyne in the team.
I mean, it takes a while. I mean, these new arrivals came into a team that won the league, so it's hard to
Just
actually.
displace.
Yeah. I have been impressed by that Gutierrez guy, who looks like he might become somewhat of a starter. Is his name Gutierrez? I might be.
The left back,
okay.
the left back Gutierrez.
Yeah, he looks good. I mean, the problem is that Spinazzola is also playing the season of his life as well.
Yeah. The main thing is now, of course, the biggest injury problem that Napoli had. So there are 2, right? The striker situation, because Lukaku, who is central to a Conte system, we saw that he won the league with Inter with Lukaku, and he won the league with Napoli with Lukaku as the starting striker. He's been injured all season. He comes back around Christmas period, which is great because Højlund and Luka are great strikers, but they don't give you what Lukaku gives you.
Yeah.
Luka has been really struggling for the time being, and it seems like Conte just left him on the back burner a little bit. Maybe there's some issue over there with confidence because he's made the big jump and he hasn't really lived up to it yet. Højlund came in and he brings them something different. He brings them a lot of energy, a lot of directness, some decent hold-up players. Well, he has a great center of gravity to him. And they've also been experimenting with the false 9, with Neres, etc., etc. But Lukaku back is going to be the biggest thing for them, and is going to be the biggest thing for McTominay. What they need for sure is a central midfielder, and they should have done more in the market to get a central midfielder, especially since Anguissa is going out on AFCON in January. I think they need that, considering Lobotka's injury. Gilmore picked up a knock as well. De Bruyne's injury. Anguissa AFCON.
I think they were set to enter the season, but they're going to need reinforcements in January because they've lost De Bruyne. I think when it comes to planning, their depth is probably second to none in Napoli. They really addressed every single position well. I can't think of a position where they don't have enough depth. You look at their centre-backs, for example, Juan Jesus stepped in. He looks like he could start for most of these seasons.
Beukema, Buongiorno, Rahmani.
Yeah.
Rahmani is back and like he's hard to bench.
Of course. But that's the thing, right? They have a very deep squad. Granted, they've had so many injuries now that they probably do need to sign a midfielder, right? To replace the fallen Kevin De Bruyne. So, yes, this Napoli side are like a chameleon.
They seem to be interested in Kobe Mainu.
Yeah. Ah, yes.
Mainu is interested in the move because there's obviously the World Cup coming up and he's not getting any game time under Amorim.
But Amorim doesn't want him to leave, huh? And Amorim wants to keep him, right? Yeah. Yeah, weird one. So that would be really cool to see Mainu with Napoli.
Absolutely.
Also. Yes, and I say that Napoli are a chameleon because you never know what they are going to look like, and they always adapt to their opponents. And I think that is one of the major advantages of this Napoli side is the unpredictability. Yeah. And that's what I believe will keep them in the title race.
Yes, they've had a mixed bag of performances against the top teams this season. They did lose to Milan, but they beat Inter more recently. They've now drawn to Como 0-0 as well, where Como looked really solid, to be honest. So we see chinks in the armour, but we saw chinks in their armour last season as well. And I do believe that if other teams were at their best, they would have won the league over Napoli last season because it was just 83 points that they won the league with. If we want to move to second place, there is
just one little thing about the goals scored and goals conceded. So Napoli have scored twice as many goals as they have conceded, with 16 scored and 8 conceded. And the only teams who have conceded fewer than Napoli, and they're actually a surprising amount here, because Conte, of course, you always expect them to have the fewest or the least goals conceded. Maybe Allegri, you would imagine to be above him. In fact, there is Allegri above him. So Napoli have conceded 8. Lazio and Milan have conceded 7. Como have conceded 6, and Roma have conceded 5.
Christ.
So this is going to be an interesting season for sure.
Absolutely. Shall we jump to Inter?
Yes.
Inter are the team that, they're absolute goal machines, and they everyone in their team is capable of scoring goals. That is the main thing about Inter. They have so many weapons in so many different areas of the pitch, and one thing that we saw with Kivu that we didn't see under Simone is that they are a lot more attacking. So they are using that fire a lot more to get these goals. As a result, they are a bit leakier in defense, but they have since made an adjustment with Akanji going into that center-back role, as I was saying, what I believe they should do 2 episodes ago.
Yeah.
And it seems like they're doing it, and they're playing Bissek on the right center-back role. When it comes to Inter, I think one of the most interesting things is their midfield completely unchanged from last season, with Mkhitaryan starting, Çalhanoğlu starting, and Barella starting. Çalhanoğlu once again is having the season of his life, and the amount of depth they have in attack, the amount of firepower that they have off the bench, with Bonni and Pio proving to be a lot more exciting than Thuram and Lautaro at the moment. So Inter, sure, they when it comes to their direct encounters against the bigger teams, they are struggling. They lost to Napoli, they lost to Juve, and of course they lost to Udinese as well this season. The lack of experience of Kivu makes me wonder if Inter can go all the way and continue challenging till the very end, especially when juggling all these competitions and the aging squad which they had last season as well.
So Inter, first of all, I totally agree with your point about them being a hyper-attacking team. They've scored 24 goals already. The only team that comes close, and not even close, the team that scored the second most goals is Napoli with 16. That's crazy. That's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Just to continue comparing it, there's Bologna as well. They've scored 16, and Milan have scored 15. Like just to compare, Juve 14, etc., etc. But so they score a shit ton. Granted, they've been conceding more. It's true. The only questions I have about Inter are these direct head-to-heads against direct opponents, right? Because in reality, they've lost to Juve and they've lost to Napoli, and not to mention they've also lost to Udinese, something that we're not used to seeing from Inter, losing to these random teams. You know
Yes,
what I mean?
and it poses the question of how many slips can you afford in Serie A before title hopes die? Because 3 losses in 10 matches isn't an ideal outcome. Of course, they have no draws, which allows them to have the number of points that they have as well. But 3 losses in 10 games isn't ideal. They have the most losses alongside Roma in the top 7. Como only lost once, for example. Juve lost twice, Bologna twice, Milan once, Napoli twice. So Inter have the most losses over there, and the most goals conceded as well with 12. It is typically the team with the best defensive record that go on to win the title. So there are some stars that don't really align for Inter this season. But when you watch them play, and it's coming off for them, and they're absolutely mauling teams, you can't help but think that these guys are our title favorites, right?
Yes. When it comes to the actual squad, and I think most games in the season you would favor Inter, right? Especially if you put Inter against a smaller team, and you put the likes of like Napoli or Roma against a smaller team, you'd favor Inter more on the day. You know what I mean? However, I do think that Kivu can get outmaneuvered by certain managers, and I think those certain managers that can totally do him. We saw Conte drop a masterclass against them, totally absorbing and then setting up in a way to kind of hit them on the break and take advantage of the few opportunities they will have with the whole narratives of false 9. We also might see something similar, I think, in the derby. I don't want to be too I don't want to make a claim as of yet, but of course I do think that Allegri will be the type that won't allow a loss to an inexperienced manager like Kivu. And take nothing away from Kivu, he's been quite impressive so far, of course. But it's just, to me, you look at a manager who's been coaching for my entire life. I remember seeing him on TV as a child, you know what I mean? Against a manager who I saw as a child as well, but he was a player back then with a helmet. So yes, I wouldn't favor Kivu to beat some of these experienced managers. To be honest, now Inter play Lazio, and I think that will be a massive sign as well, because can he outdo Sarri?
That's true.
Because Sarri has had a fantastic defensive record. They haven't conceded in 5 games, and he sets his sides up to succeed, Sarri.
Well, bro,
especially with nowadays this pragmatic Sarri.
When you think about it this way, Napoli, Conte, Milan, Allegri, Roma, Gasperini, Juve, Spalletti. You think about those veterans in Serie A, all top 4 and championship winning experts, every single one of them. And then Inter have Kivu. If they manage to do it, then it's that goes down in the history books. But they're there right now. They're in 2nd place, tied as well, of course, with Milan. Milan have 6 victories, 3 draws, and 1 loss. The mainly impressive thing about Milan is, of course, the sense of togetherness that there is, the mixture of experience and youth, but mainly their ability to do well in these 6-pointers that we spoke about, where Inter are struggling. I mean, Milan have drawn to Juve and drawn to Atalanta, and they've beaten Napoli, they've beaten Bologna, and they've beaten Napoli, Bologna, and Roma. So when it comes to these 6-pointers and the fact that Milan only have 1 loss at the moment, they're looking incredibly, incredibly strong. When it comes to the squad, there is depth, and there's only 1 game being played a week. The striker situation can hinder them, but Milan are still scoring goals. But the thing is, they could be scoring so many more goals, because the amount of, if you watch the Roma game, the amount of times Milan should have had the ball in the back of net, with Leao missing chances, Nkunku missing chances. There was a goal line scramble at a point. I have no idea how that didn't go in. Milan need to be putting these chances away.
Yes, and when you look at every season is unique, right? You have seasons where you get 90 points and you don't win the league, the harsh ones, right? It depends. It always depends on the teams around you and how much they slip up. So Inter, for example, you mentioned they lost 3 games, but it's not that bad because, of course, everyone around them has lost or drawn quite a few as well.
Yeah.
The thing about Milan is the advantage they have is that around them, so Milan don't have a number 9 that can score 15 goals this season. But the good thing is that, again, around them, Napoli have Lukaku who's out injured. Inter have Lautaro who's off form. Granted, they have like Boni and Esposito and Thuram has been out. But granted, they're still getting the goals from elsewhere. But they don't have that reliable kind of number 9 that's banging them in week out at the moment. So Milan have been lucky in that regard. Roma have the whole situation with
Dovbyk
and Ferguson. Of course, Dovbyk has scored a few, but a couple literally. But he's of course not Gasperini's favorite choice. And Juve have 3 strikers who the other teams could probably use, but they haven't really hit the ground running. With Vlahovic performing the best.
Bro, Como need a striker in my opinion. Duvikas is good.
And Duvikas and Morata's quite nice actually.
But they also don't have that 15. Goals a season scorer. I think Bologna have a good thing with Castro up front. I'm really predicting that he's going to have a great season and he's already off to the right foot.
So my concern is when Lautaro finds his form and Lukaku comes back to Napoli, will Milan feel the loss of a striker more? I mean, I know with the style of play that Allegri plays, you'll get many goals from the centre backs, from corners, things like that. However, it's going to hurt not having a proper 9. This needs to be addressed in January, in my opinion.
It will be addressed in January.
Yeah,
Milan will make a number 9 signing, whether it's fucking Conrad Harder, who makes me softer, or anyone else. Milan have to get a number 9 because they have one. They have one, and his name is Santi Jimenez, who we're all very excited for, but he has been a complete flop. Bless him. I can't hate on anyone that gives his 100% for the club. But he's way too clumsy in front of goal, and sometimes it's like you're a man down when you're on the ball. Yeah. Off the ball, he almost makes it like you're 12.
Yeah, with the amount of ground fair. That's a fair assessment, bro.
Why do Milan struggle against Cremonese? Why do Milan struggle against Pisa? Why do Milan struggle against the smaller teams?
So, okay, interesting. I think it could be an element of complacency. Once they get the lead, right? Because I believe in both games they got the lead. Milan against Pisa for sure, twice. No, not twice, once. And then they went down, so there could be an element of complacency from some players. It could be an instruction to, kind of not put so much in the attack. But I think more than anything, it is when Milan are faced with a low block, not having a proper 9 is really felt.
Yeah.
And Milan get a lot of goals on the break. And when games are stretched, games against big teams, for example, that's when Leao can thrive. That's when Salamakers and Nkunku and everyone, and even Rabiot, these players can really cover a lot of ground with the ball. Mm-hmm. If you're against a low block, you need someone who can score in tight situations. And Milan don't really have that. So I think if you look at the game against Pisa, for example, 2 goals from out of the box. Mm-hmm. They can't work their way in because Jimenez is sleeping. And his movement is meant to be the best part of his game, Jimenez. And we saw at the start of the season, he was making runs and creating chances for himself, but against a low block, he can't seem to do it. I don't know. And even if he does, he misses.
Mm-hmm. How do you, at this point, with Jimenez out of favour, with Milan playing at 3-5-2, do you go Leao and Nkunku?
I don't like Leao and Nkunku, man. I like Leao and Nkunku against a team that's going to attack you, so you hit on the counter. It was decent against Roma, for example. But I think Leao and Nkunku against Udinese wouldn't work.
Best case scenario is Leao Pulisic, but Pulisic is out injured right now. I thought Leao and Nkunku wasn't bad. I thought Nkunku grew into the game. I think Milan were using Nkunku, unfortunately, as a bit of a target forward,
that's it.
Which isn't his forte, and it does my disservice. Leao and Nkunku need to be interchangeable, and then the other one needs to be a target man, ideally. Or Pulisic, because Pulisic gets the numbers of a target man, essentially.
I wonder how many goals Giroud has scored in France.
Giroud? He's on fire, bro.
Imagine Giroud in this team.
Yeah, he'd be perfect. In fact, Milan were looking for a Giroud type striker, right?
Not exactly on fire. He was on fire, to be
He
fair.
was. He started the season off
He
really
scored
well.
5 goals, to be honest, for them.
Yeah. Yashari was on the bench in the last game.
Mhm.
He's a 33 million investment from Club Brugge that we're all very excited about. How does he fit into the midfield is a question. Once Rabiot is back, he will inevitably take Ricci's role. Ricci could potentially fit instead of Fofana. I would prefer to see that as a Milan fan. However, now there's also Yashari and there's Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who could play anywhere in the midfield, anywhere really in attack as well.
At this point, pop him as a 9.
Literally.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hate that at
Yeah.
all. But it's interesting to see how Yashari, I can't make any predictions, but it's interesting to see how Yashari is going to come in and whose role he's going to take, because these are 3 guys that are doing a fantastic job, barring Fofana, but he can easily be replaced by Ricci.
So Yashari's in a bit of a weird situation because no one knows what to quite expect of him, or what quite to expect of him. But he's also injured, so usually you give players a bit of time after an injury. So what should we expect from Yashari? He's almost coming into this with 0 expectations, to high expectations. What are you anticipating?
I think he comes in with less pressure, because it almost seems like people have forgotten about him. Instead of feeling this pressure, he probably feels a bit hard done by because of the injury, because his teammate essentially broke his leg after his dream move.
Yeah.
He was pushing for Milan all summer. People seem to have forgotten about that a little bit.
It's true.
Had he come in straight after the transfer, late on in the transfer market, started from Matchday 1, there's that expectation this guy needs to be our star.
Yeah,
But Milan are so happy with their midfield at the moment that there is no real need for Yashari at the moment. So is he going to come in and take Milan's midfield to the next level? Or is he going to play rotation with Ricci, with Fofana, with Loftus-Cheek? That's where he's at right now.
Yeah,
He doesn't come in and blow everyone out of the way. If he does and he proves me wrong, fantastic.
That's a very smart assessment, though, because he got out of the limelight. Milan had a good start, so right now there isn't that much pressure. Look at if Milan had a terrible start, for example, and Milan really needs someone in that
We're
position.
just counting down the days for Yashari.
In
to
reality, Fofana has stepped in. The fans have blamed him, and they're taking to social media to really criticize him. So Yashari is almost anticipated with great and excitement. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. That's Milan.
Yes.
Just to Milan hat on and have a moment of gratitude. I can't believe Milan have defenders that play alongside each other week in, week out. You remember last season they couldn't nail down the 2 starting centre backs together. Gabbia Tomori, Ciao Tomori, Gabbia Ciao. Oh my god.
Bella Ciao.
Bella Ciao. Next up there's Roma. Level on points with Milan and Inter. Roma are an interesting one. They've got they actually have 3 defeats as well. They've lost to Torino, they've lost to Milan, and they have lost as well to another big club that escapes me right now.
You love doing this.
I adore it. It's Inter, was it?
Inter.
Yes, it was Inter, the Bonni early goal.
Yeah.
Roma are an interesting one. They've conceded the least amount of goals in the league with only 5 goals conceded. They haven't drawn a single game yet. They have scored just 10 goals so far this season. A lot of 1-0 victories. I wouldn't call them scrappy victories. They've been quite clean, but they have been a bit lucky in the sense that 1-0 victories over such a long stretch. If they're planning to do this all season, it's gonna be a long season for them. And I don't think they have those reliable game changers week in, week out that can guarantee them at least a goal. Dybala at some point, let's be honest, Dybala at some point is probably going to get injured.
Especially if he keeps playing him the way he's playing him.
Yeah, he's entering duels.
And we said that he's not a player that you give 90 minutes to, Dybala. You'd have to be off your rocker, and he's been starting him. So I think that when it comes to game changers, it's true. So Sole's been the main X factor for them.
Yeah.
And other than that, there's been players popping up here and there. So yes, I think. Do you think they'll also sign a striker in January? Milan and
Yes.
Roma might have a January literally going head to head for a striker.
I mean, these were the guys that tried to pass each other's problems onto each other until the last.
Jimenez
day
for
of the
Dovbyk,
mercato.
Dovbyk for Jimenez. We do it.
Like on Fanta.
Like on fantasy football, literally.
And what's his name, man? The Milan sporting director, Tare.
Yeah.
On the final day saying, yeah, we're trying to get Dovbyk by offloading Jimenez. So interesting to see if that's going to be picked up again. By the way, both their seasons are going. I don't think either of them
Would want to help the other
would
one.
want to help the other one out
Yeah.
because they're level on points. Milan just beat Roma. Dovbyk has found a bit of success here and there. He's got a couple of goals to his name. Working a bit in this rotation system. Scored a great goal 2 matches ago. And then Jimenez, on the other hand, really, really struggling. So I don't think that swap will be taking place, but I think both teams will be in for a striker. I think they both are in significant need of a number 9.
Imagine Roma sign Boniface.
Oh my God. It's just
Crazy.
crazy. Medical.
Yeah.
Is it momentum or is it consistency? That is a question I keep
With Roma.
going back and forth.
No, I think
in my head.
Roma are. So at first I thought, with the first few games, I thought to myself, okay, they're getting quite lucky with these victories. However, man, there is definitely a foundation that has been laid over here. They've only conceded 5 goals. They look extremely solid every game, and I don't think they've let fully their offensive. I don't think they've fully gone as offensive as Gasperini can potentially get them to go. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
I think that eventually when they start maybe finding patterns or getting used to each other or Gasperini's system, and eventually Gasperini gives them the order, attack, that's when we'll start seeing some interesting results for Roma, I think.
Yeah,
Maybe
but
that becomes riskier, because right now they're extremely pragmatic. Granted, it's not exactly sustainable because the XG is against them every game. Man.
Exactly. That's my main concern with them. However, to your point about Gasperini, we've seen a lot of occasions these seasoned managers giving us a bit of a 2.0 in how they play. We saw that with a Conte 2.0 with a 4 at the back, for example. We've seen an Allegri 2.0 and 3.0 really. Could this potentially be a Gasperini 2.0, a bit of a Mourinho style of play?
It could be to a degree.
I mean, to a degree.
Exactly. Who needs a soundboard? You're my soundboard. Because no, I don't think so, bro. I think literally he wants to do what he was doing at Atalanta. He's just easing them into it. That's what I feel.
Balancing the ship before
fully committing to it.
committing.
You know, that's what I feel. Maybe he's waiting to get a striker he likes.
Perhaps. Still a few signings such as El Ainawi, who are still kind of finding their feet.
That's
Same
it
with
as well.
Ferguson.
Everyone's adapting it.
And they also have Leon Bailey, who could be a real game changer if he finds his feet.
He is fast, man.
He's very fast. Should we discuss Bologna? I mean, they're fifth.
Bologna and Como at the moment are there. Of course, they're not going to challenge for the title, but I can say that confidently. It would be fucking crazy if they did.
Do.
Yeah. If they do, I'll gladly come. I'll revisit this and take the piss out of myself because it would be mental. But Orsolini and Paz are proving to be X factors for Bologna and Como that separate them from the teams that are beneath them.
Yeah.
Juve have Yildiz, which keeps them in this conversation as well, because these teams have been struggling without their... Or not struggling, but just it hasn't been quite clicking as well as it should be for them, but they have certain players to bail them out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I mean,
basically.
Bologna also have my guy, man, Castro. I think he's been so good for them, and then he racked up numbers and he scored goals in really important games last season at 19 years old. This guy isn't now. He's 20.
Yeah, I thought it was 22 at
Nah,
least.
he's 20. Last season he was 19, bro, Castro, which is crazy. He scored against Milan.
21.
21. So he was 19, turning 20
Yeah.
last season. But what a player! I think he's gonna surprise a lot of people this season.
I think he's already doing it, to be
Yeah,
honest.
true. Shall we discuss Juve and in that case we could probably and then jump into our second talking point, which is Juve and Spalletti. So this is a perfect kind of segue.
But I'm gonna
into that
ruin
segment.
it. Because there's an interesting observation that 10 games into last season, Napoli were first with 25 points. How many points are they on right now?
22.
But you can be this season. Okay, so they're performing worse this season than they did last season. And they won the league, of course. Inter were second with 21 points.
And that's exactly where Inter are at right now.
Exactly. Milan last season, just to compare, were, holy shit, ninth with 14 points.
Milan are third with 21 points.
Yeah, exactly. And just to give you some... okay, so Inter last season at this point were first...
No, when this is when they last won.
Sorry,
the
when
league,
they
you said.
last won the league, exactly. Jesus, time flies. It's 23, 24. Wow. When Inter last won the league, by this point, by Matchday 10, they had 25 points.
Same as Napoli last season when they won the league.
Exactly.
That's the benchmark. So
And in 2010, 2011, when Milan won the league under Allegri, at this time, they were in second with 20 points, 2 points behind Lazio.
oh my God!
And
Lazio,
now, how many points do Milan have?
21.
So they're actually outperforming the Scudetto winning team of 2011.
It's
10 games
interesting
into
how
the
you
season.
went for the 2011 one, not the 2022.
Yeah, because it's Allegri. That was my
fair,
logic.
Fair,
you know,
fair.
because you can compare kind of the manager.
Let me
'Cause
ask you this.
We compare Milan's Scudetto winning season to Fiorentina right now with Pioli. Ask me this.
Let me ask you this, and then we'll jump to Juve as title contenders and the change up they made in manager and what that means for Juve moving forward. Who has the best squad out of these teams? There's Napoli, who have a great deep squad. Inter, we know what kind of players they have. Milan, we're seeing that with the right man on the sidelines, they've got a fantastic squad full of world-class talent, really. Roma could be left out of this conversation for the time being. Juve also could be left out of that conversation probably for the time being, although there's Yildiz.
They have a very good
Kefrem
starting
Thuram.
11 when everyone's healthy. I mean, if Spalletti gets them clicking, they'll be up there in the conversation if he gets the best out of everyone. I think Inter have the best squad. Napoli have the deepest.
Fair.
I think that's how it goes.
Yes.
Not to mention Milan have a fucking good squad as well. They're up there. When everyone's healthy, Milan are unbelievable. The only thing
Yes.
that's missing is that bloody striker.
I think Milan would be in third, Inter in first, Napoli in second. Napoli and Milan starting 11 would be close.
Yeah, I think
it
so.
would be very close.
I think so.
Because Leao, of course, Pulisic, of course,
I mean, we can go
Rabiot,
on all day.
Modric,
The three centre backs are very good. This
three
year.
centre backs.
Gasperini, by the way, addressed the Scudetto. He said, Scudetto, we had an excellent start, but I'm not participating in these discussions. Such an FM response.
Hey.
Dismiss.
Exactly. So Juve and then are on 18 points. They went through a really tough period where they couldn't win a single game. They had 3 draws and 2 losses essentially in a row, which led them to sack their manager, who was Tudor, who had taken over from Motta last season as a caretaker and automatically triggered an extension. That extension and then was cut very short because he did terribly in the opening 8 games of the season. Good start and then really fizzled out. They brought in the next gen manager for one match, and now they bring in Luciano Spalletti, who was recently dismissed from his job with the Italian national team shortly after winning the league with Napoli. So let's start off. I want to start off by just saying Spalletti's contract is essentially an 8-month contract until the end of the season, and then Juve have the option to extend
That surprises me.
his contract. It surprises us both because we discussed this in the last episode before they appointed Spalletti. Didn't think Spalletti
Would accept.
I thought he'd get offended
Same.
by that offer. Another thing is Spalletti came in and said confidently that they can win the league.
Yeah, I have the quote over here.
Go for it.
He says, "Yes, I think we can get back into the fight for first place, and I've told the team as much. If I didn't believe in the quality of the squad, I wouldn't have come. I think I can do a good job, even if everything depends on the players' willingness. No one has a magic wand."
Exactly.
He hasn't seen Yildiz.
Yildiz does have a magic wand,
Indeed.
and even at times Kefren Turam. He does have a Napoli tattoo, which is
He
just
does.
something fun to bring up.
So he's always going to be in long sleeves.
Exactly, a Juve manager with a Napoli tattoo is crazy.
It's one of those, you can tell he got it in Naples for sure, because it's got like fake skin over it. It's like, you know what I mean?
like the underarm.
Yeah, it's like it's under his flesh. you know?
Exactly. So he's Napoli through and through, right? What do you expect? So we've seen a slight bump in performances. Of course, the opposition was Cremonese, but they beat them, and we did see a bit more fluidity in the team. He obviously had one training session only before the Cremonese game, so he did stick to that same 3-4-2-1 system that was deployed by Tudor. Slightly tweaked. He had Cope Miners at left centre back, and he was distributing play. I don't think they have any defenders that can do that, so it was interesting to see him address that immediately and have Cope Miners there. He started Kostic out on the left. He started Cambiaso out on the right. Dusan was the lone striker up front with Openda and McKennie starting behind him. So we saw a lack of availability there as well. Yildiz wasn't 100% to start this
Kelly,
game.
Bremer, Cabal as well were all out. Milik and of course Pinsolio couldn't keep him company on the bench.
He's not going to play a 3 at the back, I'll agree. I mean, he
Spalletti.
Spalletti. He tried to do it for the Italian national team. It didn't work out for him. Sure, could he take those lessons into this 3 at the back formation? I doubt it'd go for that. I think this squad as well screams for a 4-3-3 with Conceição, Vlahovic or whoever, and then either probably Yildiz on the left-hand side, right?
I think he finds himself in a position where he has a lot of talent up front, and if he goes for a 4-3-3, maybe he's not using the squad to its maximum potential.
Okay.
I'm not sure if starting the system was simply because Yildiz was out, so he didn't really value having a creative wingers. Essentially, maybe he didn't really want to rely on Conceição, because he didn't start. Did he start Conceição? No, he didn't exactly. So, and Conceição did come on and did well actually, but yes, I think that this was more of a reactive thing. You know, he's only had 48 hours. He looked at the squad in front of him. There's like, okay, no Yildiz, but Openda and Vlahovic look like two players who can do something for me. Let's put them out there. I think eventually he will go back to his 4-3-3. It's difficult to imagine Spalletti not doing that.
Yeah, I think so.
And Juve are well equipped for it, man. You look at their team.
They are. I think their team is made for a
the
4-3-3.
only annoying thing about that is the fact that up front they have so much money wasted essentially, and I wouldn't be surprised. And I think I saw something actually, a headline, though I didn't actually read the full article, that it said do not rule out Jonathan David going out on loan in January, and you can understand why I didn't read the fucking article, because of course you're not going to rule it out.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, it's fucking obviously possible. It's not the wildest thing I've ever heard.
But what is clearest to me in the way that he set up over here is the overload in midfield, which is an area where Juve were getting bypassed far too easily. So many occasions on the break where players found themselves just with the defenders left to beat, and they'd end up in a 3v3 situation. Here what we're seeing is a bit of an overload in midfield. So Cope Miners as a centre back, he was stepping up to play in central midfield as kind of like a regista. And then they had Cambiaso inverted from the right hand side coming into midfield. There's Locatelli, Thuram, and then Weston McKennie as well, who didn't play behind the striker or as a winger, but rather as a central midfielder, as a bit of a mezzala, really. So I think that is an area that Juve have to address, and you know, I wouldn't be surprised if they look at the transfer market in January, because when it comes to their starting 3 in midfield, there's Thuram, Locatelli. Those are 2 guaranteed starters. Let's say it as it is. And then there's Cope Miners. There's McKennie. Can he get the best out of Cope Miners? Will he give up on Cope Miners?
It's already an interesting change. And to your point, by the way, of overloading the midfield, as fuck, for lack of a better word, bro. There's McKennie and Cope Miners. They have 4 central midfielders.
Yeah, similar to Contes.
Yeah, literally. That's so true, bro. Yes. So, what you asked me a question? Sorry.
Did I ask you a question? Yes, the third central midfielder. Will they buy one? Will he get the best out of Cope Miners?
I think it's not something that needs to be totally addressed urgently, the central midfield position, because I think you have Thuram, Locatelli, McKennie, and Coop Miners, of course. It's not. Maybe he finds one of them serviceable. Maybe he can get the most out of Coop Miners. Who knows? He's a good manager, Spalletti.
You know what I don't hate, man? A 4-4-2, one of these fluid ones. That could change to a 4-3-3. That could change to a 4-2-4. If you have Cambiaso on the pitch. So I'm saying a 4-4-2. Cambiaso as a right midfielder. You have Vlahovic and Yildiz up front. Cambiaso can slot into a midfield three in possession or out of possession, however they see fit, and that would just give them multiple different solutions with the same squad in a match. So from 4-4-2 they can go to 4-2-4 in the build-up phase, and however they want to set up off the ball. It could be a 4-3-3, it could be a narrow 4-4-2. Cambiaso, they should really use his versatility almost the same way Milan used to use Musa to a more successful extent.
not the best example. like Milan used Musa.
Exactly. Look where that got them. Nice.
Exactly. Like Conceição's Musa, the formidable. No, he really emphasized the wing play over here as well, and that was, I think, the main difference that we saw between Tudor's Juve and Spalletti's Juve, is how high the wing backs pushed up, and in fact both of them got a goal, which is crazy.
Wow. Kostic is a talking point in himself. Huh?
Yeah, but that was his birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Yes, I think when it comes to that, to be honest, I was a little bit shocked by Vardy's goal and how easy that was. Just one long ball over the top, and I think it doesn't help that Gatti lost his balance as well, to be fair. But what's his name? Spalletti flagged it as bad habits, huh?
Okay.
He didn't like that at all, of course.
Well, he's, again, just 48 hours before this. I doubt we'll see that happening too much with Spalletti, who, by the way, don't get it twisted, this guy is a serial winner. He is a top 4 specialist. He is the guy that got top 4 with Udinese, top 4 on 4 occasions out of 5 with Roma, 2 occasions out of 2 with Inter, 2 occasions out of 2 with Napoli, and he came first in that as well. This is a guy that loves a top 4 finish, and the last time he was in Serie A, he won the entire damn thing. Of course, it didn't work out for him at Italy. We see that a lot with great domestic managers. But take nothing away from Spalletti. The Italy role doesn't define him. I think it's that what he did with Napoli that defines him.
Yes, I'm going to slightly tweak the serial winner to serial top 4 achiever.
Yes.
Because that is absolutely what he is, 100%. You have Spalletti, you expect top 4, and it usually happens. We're talking about a manager over here, Spalletti, that has been coaching for longer than Matt and I have been alive. He's been coaching since 1993, where he took charge of Empoli. Since then, he has managed Empoli, Sampdoria, Venezia, Udinese, Ancona, Udinese again, Roma, Zenit St. Petersburg, where he won a fucking shit ton, Roma, Inter, Napoli, Italy, and now Juventus, of course. So we're talking about a man who's been through everything.
And these are his 2 pinnacle jobs, right? Italy and Juve for Serie A lovers. Juve are the most, they have 38 whatever Scudetti, there's the national team. This is the pinnacle of Spalletti's career.
Yes.
And he knows that. He knows it didn't go well for him at Italy. Now he has Juve, one of the most prestigious teams in Italy. Some will argue the most prestigious team in Italy. Can he do it? Juve, from this moment onwards, are title contenders with Spalletti.
Yeah, he said so, and I honestly think they're good enough to push and fight for the whole thing. In fact, coming into the season, I predicted them to finish, what was it? Did I say second place? I think second place, I believe. My prediction for Juve was this.
I had them in 5th.
Yeah.
Roma in 4th.
Yeah, in fact, Adam is totally upset with you, by the way.
Yes?
Sorry,
Adam.
I think
you saw, like from the start, they sacked their manager after 10 matches. I'm on to something.
Yeah,
now, obviously, they brought in Spalletti, which changes things.
Not to be confused with spaghetti.
Very good. Shall we jump to the team.
I have some records that Spalletti had that he managed to achieve with Napoli.
Okay.
Just to take you on a trip down memory lane.
Yes, please.
So in October, when he was in charge, Napoli beat Roma 1-0, marking their 11th straight victory across all competitions to match the club record set in 1986 with Maradona. And they also went 3 points clear on top of the Serie A table.
With Baroni as well.
Yeah. They also crushed Juve 5-1. The worst defeat for Juventus in Serie A since 1993, as well as Napoli's 10th consecutive home win in all competitions. That was the match before. Interesting to see that the man who's handed Juve their worst ever home defeat is now coaching them with a Napoli tattoo on his arm. Napoli defeated Salernitana 2-0 in January, ensuring a 12-point lead on top of the Serie A table and becoming the third side in the 3-point era to have reached 50-plus points in the first half of a single Serie A season.
Holy
after Juventus in 2013, 2014 and Inter in 2006. Napoli in March defeated Frankfurt 3-0 in the Champions League, 5-0 on aggregate, to advance to the quarterfinals for the first time in the club's history.
What happened after that?
They were eliminated by
Milan.
Solo con te.
Anyway, Milan.
And then, of course, he won the league with them.
Yeah.
Crazy, yeah.
Thank you for the trip down memory
Yes.
lane. We also have a video.
Yes, we have
explaining all this.
Yes, we do, and we also have a video of a prank phone call. But
I love it. Nick's gonna put it up. His eyes lit up.
Spalletti basically had this was during his time at Napoli.
He
I
had just
believe.
left Napoli, so the prank call was telling
Yeah.
him like I think, do you agree that
I think
or
he was
no,
pretty. He was like, "Hello, this is Rudy
Rudy
Garcia."
Garcia. Should I take the job?
Yeah. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Nick will find it. In the meantime, we can talk about how does he get his head to shine like that? Spalletti.
You tell me. I recently spoke to someone who lasers their head
I
once
don't
every
know.
6 weeks.
It's once every 6.
He
Pronto?
doesn't have to shave it.
Sono Rudy
No, I wouldn't do that. Let's go. Oh, let's go, John.
Garcia. Senti, ma non è che mi dai una mano per la partita contro il Braga? Perché sinceramente
Chi ti ha dato il mio numero? Chi ti ha dato il mio numero?
He reacts. I would have placed
Pronto?
money that he would react in that exact way.
I love. He repeats the same thing but louder. Where the fuck did you get my number? Where the fuck did you get my number?
Where's my daughter?
Hilarious.
Anyway, let's jump to the Fiorentina situation. Viola fans, it's a lot, and I understand, and it doesn't help that your stadium looks the way it does.
It just makes everything so much worse, man.
Derelict, bro.
Yeah, it looks really bad, man.
Yeah. So, just a news update. Fiorentina have sacked sporting director Daniele Prade after the club's worst ever Serie A start, which was winless in 9 games, now 10. The decision came 2 days after losing to Inter. Prade's exit ends a 5-year stint marked by highs, like a European return and 3 finals under Italiano, but recent months turned toxic. His falling out with Raffaele Palladino, poor squad balance despite a 30 million net spend and one of Serie A's highest wage bills made him the obvious scapegoat. Since then, now they have gone on to lose at home to Lecce, which confirmed the sacking of Pioli.
Yeah.
Which means Fiorentina are in the market for a manager. Unfortunately for them, the man born in Florence, in Tuscany rather, Spalletti, has now joined Juve, so that's that option off the table. Here's my point. Last season, Palladino did a fantastic job with Fiorentina.
Yes.
And we said that the entire time.
Of course, I mean, they finished 6th, they beat Juve and Inter 3-0, they had strong Conference League runs to the semi-final.
We had Fiorentina fans messaging us when we said, is Palladino better or is Italiano better? We had Fiorentina fans, many of them, messaging us saying Palladino is a better manager than Italiano. I don't know how much I agree with that nowadays, but now that Prade is gone, the main problem that the problem that Palladino had, the reason why he walked out of Fiorentina, Do they re-explore bringing him back in? Do you think
I think
there
they are. It's
negotiations?
definitely being mentioned. However, there are many candidates for the job who are in contention. I think it would be smart to bring him back if he's up for it. If Prade really was the problem, I mean, the team isn't very different to what Palladino remembers, and he did so well, man. As well, he got Keane to score 19 goals, second top scorer. He brought Gosens back to form. It was good, man. And to be honest, Prade didn't do himself any favors because every single thing he touched turned to shit this transfer market.
Yeah.
Not to mention all the weird loan moves that are constantly happening in Fiorentina. But Piccoli was signed for 25 million, which definitely raises his eyebrows. Like, why the hell was Piccoli signed for 25 million? Like, okay, he's a decent player if you manage to get him on a free or on the last year of his contract. You get him on a bargain, he can be a useful utility player because it's low risk. But getting him for 25 million is very risky. Dzeko hasn't scored yet. Piccoli hasn't scored yet. Remember, Dzeko's on high salary.
Yeah.
Som has been brought in and hasn't played a full match yet. It's not looking good, man. And I think Prade, rightfully so, was the first person to go, followed by Pioli. I mean, that's just inevitable.
Now, because I know Prade gets a lot of hate, and there were some weird signings that he made out of Italy, bringing in washed stars and not really being able to get the best out of them, obviously. Fiorentina's last 3 seasons. 3 Conference League finals. Sorry, 2 Conference League finals. I believe there was was it 3? I think it was
2, I believe.
Okay.
Or let me double check that. You can keep going.
Yeah. Prade, with Italiano and with Palladino, managed to get success with this squad, with slight tweaks here and there. Pioli came in, they haven't won a game, and he is last. Prade, with the right managers, has clearly found success. Does the situation with Palladino and how he essentially forced him out and the ill signing of Pioli, is that enough to justify the sacking even when he had so much success over the past 3 seasons with Fiorentina?
I think this is a bit of a catastrophe, to be honest with you, bro. I think that having them in the relegation pool and going 10 games winless, I think that is definitely sackable, especially when you look at the personnel who have been brought in not managing to do anything. I mean, football is an extremely cutthroat industry. Do I believe that it's fair that Prade was sacked? Not really, because you can do well for 3 years and it's just you're doing your job. You start off a season poorly and the first 10 match days don't go your way, and suddenly they're asking for your head and you're the first to go. I don't know if it had anything to do maybe with the fact that he did fall out with Palladino. Maybe the upper management kind of realized what they've lost when they brought in Pioli, and Pioli, who is technically a better manager than Palladino, who's a more decorated manager than Palladino is. I think that plays a part, to be honest, as well. To be honest.
Just a correction going back, it was 2 finals. The reason I get confused is because Italiano made 3 finals in 3 seasons.
Yes.
One of them was the Coppa Italia final with Bologna, which he won. So, that is 2 Conference League finals.
Prade as well, bro. Remember, for this season was given 90 million to spend. And I guess when you're the management and you give someone 90 million to spend and you're second from last, automatically, regardless of their history, maybe it's not a good look.
Yeah, it's not a good look. Industry. I don't know. I'm not too familiar with Prade's work and the successes that he's brought about, but looking at the drop-off Fiorentina had from the past 3 seasons to this season, that shows that Prade, with his hiring of Italiano, with his hiring of Palladino, he had done some good work. I think it's the toxic environment which probably came out over time that he started instilling over the team. Like you have a gem like Palladino and he leaves because of your toxic environment. And also Fiorentina has been a turbulent place over the past few years. I mean, There was the Beauvais incident. There was the heart attack incident as well, where they lost.
A story.
Was it the Joe Barone?
Yes,
where
yes.
Joe Barone passed away. There was Palladino's mother, if I'm not mistaken, the Astori thing.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of kind of
And even now,
within the club.
even now, bro, Rocco Commisso is away in the USA recovering from surgery. So there's a massive leadership void happening right now in Florence. So, no, I mean, they've been a bit of a cursed club recently.
Mm-hmm. Can they get back this season?
Get back where?
I mean, to fighting
Jojo?
for where they get back, Jojo. To fighting for a Conference League spot.
That's where Fiorentina belong, to be honest. It's
Absolutely.
weird. So, Conference League is currently...
So 6th place.
Yeah, let's say 18 points. Fiorentina are on 4th stuff. It's really tough.
No is the answer.
No. I highly, highly doubt it. Unless maybe they bring in Ranieri.
Not a bad fucking shout.
Yeah.
So that's Fiorentina at the moment. It's very turbulent. Let us know who you would like to see. Mancini is still available as well, and he's keen for a job.
The candidates at the moment that were, or when I prepped, the ones who were being mentioned a lot, but these things, the odds change very quickly. Vanoli was the favorite. And Daniele Galloppa is also being mentioned. He's the Primavera coach that they might consider promoting. Honestly, at this point, it's hard to do worse. I'm not sure if it's a good idea risking your club's life in Serie A to promote a Primavera coach. No. I would prefer Vanoli for that, but it's not a name that excites me either.
Not at all. I think for the time being, stepping in, it's likely Ferrari and Goretti. No, but that's Fran Goretti running transfers short term. This is basically... They're saying that instead of hiring another sporting director immediately, they're going to share the responsibility with 2 members of the club, like the director of sport and someone else who are going to get their heads together and do the transfers. When it comes to manager, we'll have to wait and see.
Let's remember as well that it took them this long to sack Pioli because they straight up didn't want to, and because Pioli's on 3 million net for 3 seasons.
Yeah.
So, they're already in the red, so I doubt they would want to I thought they wouldn't want to lose that money, they tried to settle this contract, they tried to find a financial kind of agreement, but it wasn't possible for them.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Next up, Atalanta and Juric. So Atalanta haven't sacked Juric, of course. Even though they're saying his job is reportedly under scrutiny after the team's poor start to the season, with Gazzetta dello Sport identifying 3 main concerns, which are the player's attitude, the declining efficiency in play, and questionable tactical choices. Now, all that we can see really, barring the performances, let's go through their season so far. So they're on 2 wins, 7 draws, 1 loss. Now, we used to call them the almighty undefeated Atalanta. Take that with a pinch of salt. Everyone knew they were on 2 wins and 7 draws, but they now have their first defeat. So they started off their season with a draw to Pisa, and then a draw to Parma, and then 2 wins back-to-back to Lecce and Torino, and convincing victories those were, like the old Atalanta that we used to see. Draw to Juve, away, not bad. Draw to Como, home, not bad. Draw to Lazio, home, they should have probably done better there. Draw away to Cremonese, draw at home to Milan, not bad, and then a loss to Udinese.
But
so
you know what
they
they say.
do have some decent results in there, and it is it's the first spell for a manager after such a long spell with Gasperini, right?
Yeah, but again, you know what they say: not bad, not good.
Not bad,
Straight
not
up, bro. Not bad, not good. In the words of Lil Jon, Juric should go to church because he's scared, man.
Oh.
Straight up, he's scared. He's too pragmatic. He's too defensive, man. He doesn't field. He has many players who are capable of playing nice, attractive, offensive football, of playing brave, bold football, but he's straight up not doing it, man. He's playing he's playing Lukman or CDK or Sulemana. He isn't putting them out there, the players to succeed. He's playing a lot of defensive players, man.
He is.
And that is the reason for all these draws, because he's too afraid, I think, to push for that victory, to go for it. How many first halves have Atalanta wasted this season? So many.
And if you look at the Udinese game, they had 60 to 71% ball possession throughout the game. Yet they registered no shots on target. They lost the ball 120 times and only recovered it on 55 occasions.
This is the Udinese game?
Yes, there is clearly a lack of... There's a lack of passages of play. They're not being inventive. Let's also say it as it is, right? They lost Retegui. Scamacca went off injured. Kristovic is streaky. We know what he's like. Lukman had that entire situation. Doesn't want to be there. Didn't celebrate his huge goal. Amazing goal against Milan. CDK is a shadow of his former self. Daniel Maldini, non-existent. Sulemana, few good moments. It's not a good period, and I think the fact that Juric is offering some sort of continuity from the Gasperini era, because there are similarities.
Yes, we said it from the get-go, bro, that these guys, I mean, Juric is a Gasperini student.
Yes.
You know, the difference is that his game is more defensive, essentially, but the structure, the base form is the same. The problem over here is, like we've been saying, you know, you look at this game against Udinese, for example, from the start, he had Sulemana and Scamacca as the offensive threat. And then there's Samardzic, of course, but he was deployed to work hard as well. You look at Zalewski, Pasalic, Ederson and Zappa Costa, Dream City, he and Kosunu. This is a very, very defensive team.
Incredibly.
And then you look at the bench, they've got Lukman, they've got Kristovic, De Ketelare, Brescianini, who's been in goal scoring form as well.
Who is a very attacking-minded wing-back.
Exactly.
As well, who could create chances.
So it's not like Juric has been doing a very bad job, but the expectations of Atalanta have changed, and they are a team that's meant to compete for a European spot nowadays. And in order to do that, you have to be brave. You can't be as pragmatic as this. You know? I mean, everyone talks about Allegri, but Milan are creating an XG of between 2 and 3 every game almost. You know, at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I mentioned earlier the not so bad results in some of the games. There were bad ones, of course, the draw to Pisa, the draw to Parma, and perhaps they could have done more against the likes of Lazio, Udinese and Cremonese, obviously. And they have only 2 wins in their opening 10 matches. There are 8 matches that they didn't win, bro. And they have yet to play Napoli, Inter and Roma. So that earlier prediction that we made that they'll be sitting somewhere between 7th to 10th place is seeming likely. I know it's still early on in the season. Do you foresee them sacking Juric if they get 2 more draws on the trot, for example?
So I believe it was Michael, our patron, who said that it's been... I'm not sure. Sorry, Michael, if you didn't say this. That it's been, that in the next 2 games... If they don't win any of the next 2 games, he foresees a sacking.
Okay.
Yeah. And to be honest with you, I think it's very possible, because Atalanta should have higher expectations. And to be honest, there are some interesting profiles in the market that might suit Atalanta and what they're all about perfectly. I mean, you look at Palladino, you look at Thiago Motta, man. These guys with a team where there isn't as much pressure. I know Motta failed at Juventus, but in reality he offers the perfect amount of offensive play and pragmatism that would really suit this Atalanta team.
It suits Fiorentina as well. Fiorentina isn't crazy, and it's his level, I feel.
You know, by the way, I know I'm rushing to another part, but Daniele De Rossi is being mentioned with Genoa.
Yes.
And I think that would be a really cool one.
I would love it.
Yeah, I would love that as well, bro.
Just for clarity's sake, Atalanta, their next game after they play Marseille away from home, De Zerbi's Marseille, is at home to Sassuolo, where they can perhaps get a result, and then they're away to Napoli, and at home to Fiorentina.
Yeah, so I think that Juric is not a bad manager by any means, but maybe he isn't quite bold enough to face to run a club, to manage a club that is expected to win every game or most games.
Yeah. As well, just to say, he has had a mixed bag of performances in the Champions League as well. Right now, they're on a loss, a win, and a draw. I'd love to tell you guys who those came against if you give me a second.
One.
Okay. They beat Club Brugge, which is something Juve failed to do last season, I guess. So that was their first game. No, that was their second game. Their first game was a loss, and that was against PSG. So they lost to PSG 4-0, and then they beat Brugge 2-1, and then they drew to Slavia Prague at home. So a very mixed bag in Europe, because we have to keep in mind this guy's playing all the competitions.
One interesting thing as well about Atalanta and the league is they haven't faced the heavyweights like Napoli, Inter or Roma yet, meaning either the table could still tighten or Juric's situation could worsen.
Exactly. Shall we jump to Genoa and Vieira?
Yes.
Another man that has lost his job in Vieira, which take me back to the summer where he was linked. He was the top name that was linked to Inter. Look how quickly things change in football. Look how quickly the narrative changes. They have sacked Vieira after a winless start. Just 3 points from 9 games and 6 defeats, which is their worst opening in decades, which is surprising considering the amount of relegations they had recently. Vieira had replaced Gilardino last season and guided Genoa to 13th. He couldn't carry that form into this campaign. His overall record for Genoa was 10 wins, 12 draws, 15 losses, as a 27% win rate. The club confirmed that Roberto Murghita, assisted by Domenico Criscito, take over on an interim basis, and recently De Rossi has been the name that has been picking up, and he needs a job in Serie A. I think he was hard done by the most recent spell that he had at Roma, but before that he did great things. Agreed,
totally. I think the main problem over here with what happened between Genoa and Vieira is a stubbornness to change, because I think the management would have expected being outside of the relegation pool, but not necessarily comfortably, because the club didn't actually spend any money in the transfer market. Let's remember, they just brought in some players on loan and some free agents.
However, they brought in some good players.
They brought in some good players, yes, absolutely. But however, when you don't spend, you can't expect someone to improve the situation, I guess. However, the main issue, I believe, is that he has been stubborn. He hasn't tinkered with the system. He's been playing the exact same way for the whole season, essentially. And it's proved to not be enough. He's got some of the players that have been brought in that he hasn't actually deployed yet.
We're talking about Grombek, Stanchu and Carboni. Grombek has only played 60 minutes. Stanchu only 173. Carboni 322, featuring off the bench quite a bit.
Yes, and I'm constantly a man down on fantasy football. I could totally use Stanchu, man. Like,
I
please
think they
play
could
him.
use Stanchu as well.
I think
in the first few games, he was showing, like hitting free kicks and like smashing
dictating
the
play.
crossbar.
He looked like a very seasoned veteran,
Yeah. At least now for whoever comes in. So I think this is a tough job for whoever gets it. I think they need to act in January. I think they need a striker. I think Colombo's been off, and otherwise they struggle with having a clear number 9. This is the team that had Pinamonti last season, who was doing brilliantly at them. He hit double figures, albeit 10 goals. Now he's at Sassuolo, obviously. I think they need a striker, and I think they need to get these guys in. They need to... Carboni needs to start a lot of these games.
Carboni is, of course, man.
He's strong, he's quick, he's tall, he's physical, he's intelligent, he has great close ball control. I think he can create a lot of opportunities, and I think this guy has a goal in him as well. I think they need to get him on the pitch more. Otherwise, I don't think they have a bad team, man.
No, I don't think so either. I actually quite like their team. It's just they're off to a bad start, and I think if you give them a manager who doesn't maybe prioritize dominating possession and moving the ball around and waiting for an opportunity, but a manager that actually wants to play football like De Rossi, they might actually get some results.
Absolutely.
I think De Rossi, this would be a good gig for him. This is also a level where he can kind of coach without too much expectations, without the whole conflicting thing of this is the team of my heart and then the fans love me, but we're not doing that well. You know what I mean? He can coach in serenity.
You know what's crazy as well?
Funny saying that, by the way. When he's transitioning to a team potentially that's in the relegation pool, that's a job where you can coach with serenity compared to Roma.
It's true,
Yeah.
it's true. With that said, man, I was just saying how 1 second Vieira's linked to the Inter job, then he's getting sacked by Genoa. 1 second De Rossi's linked with the Italy job, and now he's the front runner to join Genoa instead.
Yeah.
We say front runner, but if there are any news reports coming out right now that we are not privy to, apologies.
Exactly. Yes, I think with Vieira it was that, right? It was just his stubbornness, his ability to change formation, to try new players.
And like he gets sacked, and there's an instant reaction from the squad as they beat Sassuolo with the score of 2-1 with an
RKO out of nowhere.
An RKO out of nowhere. They're currently in 18th. This takes us nicely to the relegation battle. This is our last talking point. If we're talking about the relegation battle, I think these are the main teams we should be looking at. So Fiorentina are last, right, with 4 points. Verona are one before the last with 5 points. Genoa, Pisa, Parma, Lecce, Cagliari. I think we can exclude Fiorentina from the conversation because we're realistic. And I think having players like Moise Keane, Goodmanson, Ranieri and the likes, you can't get relegated. If they do, it's the biggest failure in fucking history.
Yeah,
bro.
wait for Como to win the league and Fiorentina to finish last.
Exactly. So Verona, Genoa, Pisa, Parma, Lecce, Cagliari. Am I really leaving anyone out? I don't think Sassuolo are candidates. I don't think Torino are.
I think
I don't think Cremonese are, even though they, this time last season, Empoli were in 12th.
Exactly, bro. In fact, Empoli were 12th at this time last season and finished 18th. And Genoa were dead last at this time last season and finished 13th.
And Roma were hovering over the relegation zone and they finished 5th.
Exactly.
So that's how much
just
things
goes
can
to
change.
show how early it is. I think right now the teams that are best positioned for relegation, I would say Parma. Even though they have improved a bit, not too much, but there are just many flaws. You know, they struggle to score from open play. They're quite error prone as well, even red card prone.
Have the most red cards in the league now.
Yeah, it's every game I feel like they get a red card. Okay, Pisa have shown some things, but I'm not quite sure if it's enough. So they're definitely in the running. Lecce as well could easily hit a bad run and could be in the running as well. And Hellas Verona, it's unfortunate because they've played very well. They've got... They're a team, for example, who really balances pragmatism and offensive threat.
Yes.
They play two players with maximum freedom up front.
Exactly.
And Gift Orban and Jovan, and it's proving to be bold but effective.
And I've been enjoying watching Verona play.
Yeah.
It's a shame that they haven't gotten a single victory. And that takes me to my point that over here we're seeing two teams that are capable of victories and the others that are really struggling for victories. I think Cagliari and Lecce, they have fire to them. They have a strong fan base. One, of course, Lecce, managed by Eusebio Di Francesco, who has a very clear style, which is more attacking. Is he going to get relegated for a third season running? I don't know. There's the same guy that got relegated with Frosinone and last season where he got relegated with Venezia. Is that going to happen again? He has another tricky side like Lecce. But that's 2 wins, 3 draws and 5 losses. Exactly the same as Pisacane's Cagliari. These two... especially Cagliari right now, I'm very hopeful that they can steer a bit further and be the favourites to avoid relegation.
Cagliari have a nice setup, in my opinion.
Cagliari do have a nice setup.
Compared to the bottom dwellers, they have a nice setup. What I fear is that the other teams will go for some more seasoned managers. For example, I'm talking about Parma, for example. And then Pisacane maybe can really stick out as the youngest manager. However, right now it doesn't. When I watch Cagliari, I don't feel like they're shaky at all. They actually look very solid, and they do. It's like going to the dentist playing Cagliari, right?
They do a very weird atmosphere for there to be at the dentist. There's all those players. Parma, on the other hand, so I had them relegated. I think I had them in last. Third,
surely not.
In 18th, I think I had them in my predictions. But that was my hot take, right? That Parma will get relegated. And it is looking like a possibility. But I'm going to mention 2 teams. I tell you, they don't give me the feeling that they're going to get relegated because they are consistently improving.
Pisa
and
and
they're
Cremonese.
super tricky sides to play against. The two P's, brother.
The 2 Ps.
Pisa and Parma.
Yeah.
Parma have only conceded 12 goals.
But they've only scored 5, huh?
They've only scored 5. I think goals will come for Parma. I'm not saying they're ever going to be this goal-scoring machine of a team. I don't think they have the players for it. But I think you start seeing like that long throw-in routine, the corner kick routines, the free kick
No,
routines.
they have tricks up their sleeves.
They do.
But they struggle to keep clean sheets, huh? I mean, we saw them keep a clean sheet against Como, who are quite pragmatic this season as well, and one against Genoa, who, let's be real, they're the kings of pragmatism. But the second they play against a team that plays, they lose. Honestly, they beat Torino, which was a nice result, but they played Lecce, for example. Lecce beat them. They were outplayed.
Right after they had beaten Torino, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, exactly. Roma, of course, Bologna, of course. You know,
Pisa, on the other hand, I think they're super tricky. I think they're super physical. I think they have such a well-balanced team of names I've never heard of in my life,
but
right?
they're fun.
But they have a creative midfielder like Abisher, and then they've got Akin San Miro, who's a bit more box-to-box and physical, and I forgot who the third one is, but he's a bit more well-rounded in that sense.
What's his name? Let's check it out. We're talking... Is it Heuholt?
So Heuholt, they've got Heuholt, who isn't my favourite, but then they've got a few other midfield options. Marin.
Yeah, Marin's
who
been quite
dictates
good.
play quite well, and they have a few options in midfield, and I
Yeah.
think the way that they shape up off the ball makes them really annoying to play against, and even those Gilardino high looping balls
Yeah.
from one end to the other, utilizing physicality, they've really got something to them. And man, they haven't won a game. They have 6 draws, 4 losses, 7 goals scored, 14 conceded. Let me just tell you who they've played so far, okay? They've lost to Roma, Udinese, Napoli and Bologna. Roma, Udinese, Napoli and Bologna. They've drawn to Atalanta, Fiorentina, Verona, Milan, Lazio, Torino. That's a fucking tough start, man.
That is.
It's an incredibly tough start. They've played Napoli, Bologna, Roma, Milan, Lazio, Atalanta, Fiorentina.
Yeah, and the funny thing is they actually have somewhat of a deep squad as well. So,
Yes.
quite, like they've got some important players out, like Estevez and Stengs. Stengs, man, we haven't even seen
It's
yet.
true. It's
Stengs
true.
is their most creative player, essentially. So, they've definitely started quite strongly. We'll see if they improve, because Gilardino's teams sometimes struggle to make it over the line, right? They're impressive, but they can't quite get those victories from what we have seen already from Gilardino.
Yeah.
I like as well the forward line, man. You've got these guys in Zola. You've got Meister, Morio, Tramoni as well, plays on the wing. He's quite an interesting player.
And they like starting games. What's the name of the striker that scored 2 in the last
Morio.
game? Him and Inzola are big boys.
Big
up front.
boys.
Big boys. Big physical
Yeah.
strikers. Tramoni, I'm a bit disappointed with right now. Of course, his experience is Serie B. He's quite young. But he was our one to watch for the season, and at 25,
It doesn't quite translate in.
I'd want a little bit more.
Yeah.
He hasn't been bad.
He's been alright.
But he hasn't been a nailed-on starter for them either, and perhaps because they need more experience in the squad.
Yeah.
Nick just had an ADD attack, and it looked really weird from where we were sitting. So this is... What's his name? Winston?
Watson.
Watson's caught real.
Exactly.
And then Nick was just doing this. And it looked like he was fiddling with his wiener.
And
if
not to
I'm being
mention
honest.
before he was straight up going.
This is what happens when you make someone sit
Through
for
a
2
Serie A
hours
podcast.
with us speaking
Yeah.
about Serie A.
Nick is everyone listening's girlfriend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And
Fucking Samira.
fucking San Siro. So I think Pisa, Parma, Cagliari and Lecce I'm not gonna change my who I predicted.
No,
It's a
we'll keep
cheat
the
code,
predictions the
whatever.
same.
We'll keep the predictions. But let me just say, I feel like Verona might be in some trouble. It's catching up with them a little bit. I have liked what I've seen from them, but I hate how capable they are of losing games and their inability to win games. It's just, it's so possible. Like, they've got the worst goal difference in the league with -10.
Yeah,
Second worst is Fiorentina with -9.
that's bizarre.
That's bizarre.
That's insane. It's hard because, in my opinion, man, these all these teams at the bottom have shown something good. That's the toughest part of it. For me, the worst ones that I've seen, Parma.
It's tough.
It's so tough, bro.
It's tight. What a good point to bring
Lecce,
up.
fuck it, Parma, Lecce, I would say, and
And Verona, right?
no, but not Verona, man. When I watch them, they
I
play
know,
fucking
I know,
well,
I know,
man.
I know,
Every
but So
game.
did Venezia.
Yes,
so
okay,
did,
but
so
but
many of these
it's
guys.
true. No, but
Empoli.
Hellas Verona have a structure where their centre backs are very capable. They've got a strong midfield with a lot of experience, and the front two are very
It's
very
true.
dangerous. And once and they're both new to the league. Once Orban and Jovan gain more confidence and start getting used to each other, they should get better technically.
Yes.
And you look at the defense of Hellas Verona, man, it's much more seasoned than the others. You know, they've got some veterans in there, man. They've got the likes of, let me tell you exactly who they are. Nelson is very good. Valentini is very good. Unai Nunez is very good. Bosse is alright. He has a lot of experience. And Freze is actually playing this season. So yeah.
A good note is, of course, Genoa are in 18th at the moment. They've just gotten their first victory, and now they could potentially land the Rossi. So we'll see. Are Genoa gonna be battling relegation? Could they push up for something a bit more? Could they strive to be where they were at last season, like a 13th place? They have good players. I would say that out of these teams, they have likely the best squad.
Yeah.
Really, Genoa. So I think with the right hire, they can get out of that relegation zone the same way they did last season, but we could stand to be corrected.
Yeah, absolutely. Shall we go to our segment, brother? We have a fucking good one.
We have
this
an
week.
excellent one. We have an excellent one. I need to whip it out because I need to read it.
Yeah.
The classic.
Wisdom with the wank, 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 wank. Everybody wank, wank, wank. Get your fucking cocks out on the wank, wank, wank.
Sorry, I'm just looking for it. And for this segment, we are focusing on someone that was clearly inspired by the Wank himself. It has to do with Wank, but not with Simeon Wank Woe this time. As we see Alex Jimenez entering Bournemouth, playing football for Bournemouth and attempting the local cuisine. So we have here a DM he has sent to a woman, a very good looking woman dressed for Halloween. Let's just say all she did was put 3 scratches on her face and dress in red, and mamma mia, does she look good. And Jimenez replies to her story. You look so good and I really want you.
Wisdom with the wank.
Wisdom with the Wank. He followed that up and then, brother,
Yes, he followed it up by saying, if I am honest, I just want to fuck because I'm Spanish and I don't know any English yet. So he's basically saying, don't talk to me. I am not interested in talking to you. I can't talk to you. It's impossible. I don't speak English.
exactly. I
He
just
says-
want to blow my fucking load, bitch. This is me quoting Alex Jimenez, of course. Alex Jimenez, give yourself some grace. You're picking up the language, man.
Yeah, yeah, you're doing really well. This is
that's
at
not
least-
so bad. Maybe
This is
she
B1 at
can
least.
listen to you, and you know, maybe you can connect with your inner child a bit.
Yeah,
and-
you
and
should-
form a bond with a woman.
Yeah, you should talk a bit with her, man. It will help you pick up the language. You shouldn't just don't spend all your time having sex, man. Talk a bit, learn.
Talk it. Look, the nervous system is something we need to look after. We need to fuck as much as we need to be cradled as men, and we don't fucking talk about that enough. So Alex, you're a young boy. Listen to your elders, Matt and Jake from Serie Spotlight. Have a cuddle. or find a Latina and speak to her.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
But fair enough if you just want to fuck sometimes, just fuck.
At least he's
sometimes.
honest. That's what we have to give him. Jimenez is unbelievably honest.
Yes, but he's also stupid
Yeah,
because he has to understand he's a footballer playing for Bournemouth,
What's he
former
doing?
Milan and Real
Come to
Madrid
think of it,
player, man.
What the fuck is he doing?
I just wanna fuck.
Yeah, bro has never heard of a screenshot before.
Exactly.
Christ.
Jesus. Is that us?
This is us, yes.
That is us. We'll skip our segment of Indonesia just because we didn't really focus on those games, but it'll be back next week. We will be recording a little bit late next week. Thankfully for you, there will be the international break after that. So once you're dying for Serie A to return, we'll just be coming out with our podcast. Reason being is we got a last minute opportunity, Jake and I, to go to Amsterdam, partake in the cuisine, and watch Turnstile live in concert. But of course, we had to fit in a football game, and we're in a race against time because we have a 7-hour trip to get to Amsterdam because we have a layover in Naples because Malta's flights direct to Amsterdam are super expensive unless KM you want to fly us out, whatever.
Yeah.
And we land, and 2 hours later there is kickoff between AZ Alkmaar and PSV, who are both challenging essentially for the title. PSV in second, AZ Alkmaar in third. AZ have been good, really high scoring. PSV beat Napoli 6-2 and they're blowing everyone out of the water. Feyenoord are first, Ajax are in fourth, so we're going to be there supporting AZ Alkmaar.
Yes, it's gonna be good fun.
Watching Cope Miners' brother.
Exactly. Yes, he plays there, right?
Formerly, Reinders used to play there.
His former brother.
Cope Miners used to play there as well. They had tuned Cope Miners.
There's one guy I'm very excited to watch. I forgot his name, but he had a cracker.
PSV have a number of players. Milan were linked with their centre-back Flamingo. Bro, he's a baller. PSV have loads of good players, man.
Yeah, but there's one guy particularly in midfield. I've seen him. This guy, man, Saibari. Holy shit.
Saibari.
Yeah, he
He's
looks
great.
really good. From Morocco.
And there's also, because I had a manager mode with them.
Yeah.
So if I go back and I just point out some guys. Of course, Serginho Dest.
Surely
formerly-
Perisic isn't there anyway. Is he still there?
Perisic is there.
Oh.
Dennis Mann.
Oh, Dennis
at
Mann, the
PSV,
guy behind me.
Of course. Till, the striker. And let's just look at the bench. Of course, Flamingo, who I mentioned earlier.
They've got Pepe. Nice to
We've
see
got
Pepe.
Pepe, Wanner. I also had a
Knock
manager
baby
mode
down.
with these guys where I said... What did you say? I'll listen back to the podcast. Anyway, guys, so yes, episode will be late next week. Sorry, but we'll upload on our stories so you could witness the game live with us, I guess. Catch you all next week. Love you all so much. Ciao, ciao.
If you like Serie A or have ever liked it in the past, it's a good opportunity for you to listen once a week and you'll get filled in.
The football weekend, that's like the main dish. But then a few days later, you drop your episode and that's like the dessert. And the dessert is just perfect.
It's good, the cake.
It makes it feel like we're all sitting in a room together, just BSing with each other.
The atmosphere is fantastic.
I promise nobody will ask you to send boob pics.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
I love how you go into so much detail and show so much passion towards each and every team. Literally, no team is left undiscussed.
When I listen to you, it's like I'm talking to you in a pub. It's like I'm chatting to a friend and you're chatting to me.